USAID, right-wing media is having a field day. Left-wing politicians, senators, and the media are not happy. You know, the most benign way to look at it is like, hey, we need to keep supporting people and giving aid from, people around the world. Another way of looking at it is like, we got to keep, American imperialism alive and strong. And then on the flip side, you have people on the right that are like, thank goodness we're stopping this. We need to put America first and put this money back into America. Let's help our homeless people instead of funding $1.5 million to an LGBT group in Serbia, $2 million sex change situation in Guatemala, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru.
Super maybe, man.
Is American isolationism the way forward for America? And that's basically what this whole thing is exposing. And it seems like the parties have flipped. But there's data that supports that people have not died of malaria because of USAID. And then there's a certain part of it that's like, okay, this is definitely some type of CIA long haul. And then there's also definitely part of it that's money laundering. Apparently, USAID was sort of supporting research in Wuhan.
Uh-oh.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to camp. Yes, we're here in the tent on this beautiful day for a tent talk. You know what that is. That's the show where I explain the most interesting, fascinating, controversial stories from around the world and the internet to my dumbest friends. And oh boy, we really dumped out the short bus today, ladies and gentlemen. We got some real ringers, some real liberal cucks in here, okay? Of course, you got my friend and friend of the show, Joey Avery. How are you, sir?
Great to be here. Glad we could bring back the great Miles.
You've jumped the gun. We've got the return of the heel of the show, okay? Truly.
I'm back, everybody.
One of the most hated people on the entire internet. My dear friend, Miles.
Yeah, thank you guys for making it all the way to the flagrant comments and my vlog comments. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's drop an F Miles in the chat. Just while we can, while we're thinking.
I didn't realize this was affecting so many channels.
Multiple.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
My mom's getting letters in the mail. That's awesome.
Great.
No, it's gone deep. It's pervaded every corner of the internet.
Feel free to drop those on my channel as well. We can just get F Miles going everywhere.
Oh, we're getting merch going. It's so funny to me. I genuinely was like, we're going to get Miles on the show. We're going to just me and my buddy just riffing. And then immediately the comments start rolling in. We hate this guy. And most people would shy away from that, but not here at camp. I've leaned in fully and I'm going to monetize off it.
You have to embrace it.
Yeah. Truly. We have a very interesting story today. Something that has rocked the world, specifically on Twitter, aka X. And it seems like right-wing media is having a field day, and as a result, left-wing politicians, senators, and the media alike are not happy. And that is with a little story concerning the pausing and potential dissolution of USAID. Have you guys ever heard of USAID?
Yeah.
You're very familiar with USAID.
Not super, but I have heard.
You've been looking into it for a couple years.
No.
Okay.
I know I've heard the term.
Okay. See, this is why. It's shit like this.
I feel like it's this week is when I started hearing
Yeah,
about
no
it.
one's
and now
ever
it's
heard
like
of...
we're cutting USAID, and it's something that I assumed was there. Like, we have all sorts of programs. I know we have initiatives in other countries, but no, USAID has not been a huge part of my life and knowledge.
No one's ever heard of USAID, but apparently now everybody cares about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. So basically, after World War II, United States launched the Marshall Plan to rebuild Western Europe. And this was like an aid program that was super successful. And so throughout the post-World War II era, they were like, we need more aid around the world. Okay, we need to help people. So in the 60s, foreign assistance became more complicated. So you got this guy, JFK. Ever heard of him?
I have.
He is like, you know what? Some of our aid programs right now are not that effective. So in 1961, he signs the Foreign Assistance Act and creates USAID by executive order in November 1961. Now, USAID sounds like the U.S. is giving aid to everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. USAIDs.
Better than USAID. Yeah. It's the reverse Bill Gates initiative, trying to give AIDS to everybody.
Yeah, we're pumping AIDS across the world.
Oh, we're pushing this gay agenda.
Do you think 20 years later they were like, fuck, we should have really thought about this name?
Yeah. Well, it sounds good on paper.
The program started as USHIV, actually.
And it developed slowly.
100%.
But the name doesn't really have anything to do with aid. It's the U.S. Agency for International Development.
But they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, it was cheeky.
That's aid.
International development?
Yeah.
Could be aid.
That is aid.
Could be aid in America.
Yeah, you're right.
Could be aid in us. It sounds like USAID sounds like help the kids.
Yeah.
And then you realize kids is an acronym and you're like, oh, it's like helping some people, da-da-da. It's a little more
Korean
nebulous.
Institute of
yeah,
dumbasses. Nice. Okay, nice.
Yeah. The Korean Institute
we gotta
of
make
dick
it bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it also, just another side note, a lot of people, like, even people like in Congress, like professional politicians are calling it USAID. We're not doing that on this show.
I did look into this.
This has been pissing me the hell off.
Yeah, me too. But I looked into this because like I don't know what to call it. I've been watching news people explain it, and they are calling it like you're saying USAID, and I looked into it, and there's a Reddit post from like 6 years ago that brought up the same point. And it's like, what do we call this? And the consensus is USAID.
Yeah, it should be USAID.
USAID is stupid. It sounds like a new like passport or driver's license.
It's United States. Like it's not United States of America. Something
Identification.
Else. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
So we're calling it USAID.
Yeah.
So it starts in 1961, and broadly speaking, there are a couple different layers that now are getting exposed about it. Okay, it seems like it's been operating from the 60s all the way up until today, getting tons of money, tons of our taxpayer dollars, and some of the different layers can kind of be described in these sort of different ways, just broadly speaking. Okay, from most benign to least benign. That this foreign aid can be, seen as goodwill, right? So that you can orient populations around the world more positively towards the U.S., which can sort of help, America.
Like China's Belt and Road Initiative.
Exactly, exactly. But it's looking at it, you're like, look, we're helping people not die of malaria. We're helping people get rice. You know what I mean? And there is actual money going into these initiatives that are ostensibly helping people.
I love rice over there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Big on rice.
Yeah, dude.
And they need a lot of it. And so they're just crushing rice nonstop.
Yeah.
So again, that's like one element that is properly doing aid and helping people. Okay. The other element is, it's maybe more of just like an influence, and that we're just trying to have a presence in these countries, and that the aid part and the rice and all this stuff is kind of whatever. There's another element of this that like this is kind of pulling through the Cold War. So like after World War II, obviously Cold War basically starts and goes all the way up until like the 90s. And this is basically a way to kind of like stop communism without having to be, a hot war, like actually have boots on the ground. Yeah. It's like if we can just have a presence in all these countries, we can sort of stop the spread of communism by having them like be down with the boys and not, whatever they're trying to do. Yeah. So there's
Kill them with kindness.
Exactly. So this is seen as like soft power is a term that we'll probably be using. And this plays a large role in the success of the United States in the second half of the 20th century. Okay. With the soft power, a lot of trade agreements have been done. And then there's another element that potentially through some of these foreign aid and humanitarian assistance initiatives, some of them either are sort of tied in or just completely are fronts for spy networks for the United States to like send agents into these countries operating as humanitarians that are actually, working at the behest of the CIA and are basically
just
long
a spy
arms.
in a fucking rice bag, dude.
Are you listening? Just three guys in rice bags on a train. Like, why did that ice bag just blink? There's coughs coming from that rice bag. So that's part of it. And then there's obviously a money laundering component that is tied in with all of this.
Ooh, this I didn't know about.
Yeah. So it's like a giant pie of money, okay? Like some people speculate it's somewhere between like $30 and $40 billion every year that's going into USAID.
It's crazy. It's a speculation.
Is that a lot of money or a little money?
It's sort of in the scope of the overall budget. It's like, oh, it's not, crazy compared to like our defense budget. Okay. But then if you start looking to the actual initiatives that they're doing, this is where people specifically on the right are looking at it being like, why are we putting $30 million into this thing?
Yeah,
this makes no sense. And then on top of that, where's that money even going?
Yeah.
So from the fiscal year 2003 to 2023, federal agencies reported $2.7 trillion in total improper payments. And now all of this is coming to light through Elon Musk's Doge initiative, which is basically, put a halt on the agency and exposing all these programs and trying to figure out where all of the money has gone. And so you have USAID, and then they operate through all these like sort of NGOs, non-government organizations, like you can think like UNICEF or like Red Cross. And they go into all these countries, funnel money in there, and then where that money actually goes, it is speculation and fodder for the internet. So
I think this is the case with so many government initiatives. Like when you find out how a bunch of our defense money is spent, you end up seeing similar things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So now the current state of affairs is like all of this is getting exposed. No one really knows exactly. Like this is still all pretty early. So I've reserved the right to be wrong about all of this. But as it stands now, people are now like uncovering stuff. Mike Benz is like a great journalist and like a cybersecurity guy, but also like a non-internet censorship dude that's been like covering a ton of this on X and like putting out receipts and like going through all the documents and funding, trying to figure out where everything is. And there's a ton of like interesting things where it's like, wait, this money's going here, this money's going here. Why? And the most interesting part to me is that it's basically like flipped some of the parties on their heads. Mm-hmm. So, Gabe, if you're able to pull up, this image right here, if you click on this and go to the next image, you can see sort of like the way people kind of put this. So you have the Department of Defense that obviously is working with the State Department that's obviously working with the CIA, and they all sort of operate together. And some people are speculating that, if you go to the next slide, that the USAID is basically the agency that ties all of it together. That is a funding arm for the CIA, for the State Department, for the Department of Defense, all to basically
an additional funding arm?
I mean, it is...
Because they have their own funding, right?
So, well, they can't directly be like, hey, we're taking money from the CIA. You know what I mean? Like the CIA can't be out there building water, purifying plants and bridges and stuff.
Right.
And so they are able to create some front organizations, is what people are speculating, to basically do the bidding and be a long arm of the CIA. To basically like exert soft power in these regions.
Got it. So if USAID is funding a bunch of Americans to go like, and there's probably 95% of them are actual people that are trying to help like this impoverished place. The CIA is like, hey, take 3 of our guys that are going to help and be there and do stuff, but they're also spying.
And they'll also be in one trench coat stacked on top.
Yeah, they're going to be stacked in a big trench coat. Yeah. There's going to be a big, tall CIA guy there. And then on top of that, it's like, hey, let's just curry favor with these governments. And then, when China goes in to try to steal UN votes in like East Africa, we'll already have a presence there. And so, China will have less power. Obviously, China's Belt and Road Initiative was something that got a ton of, information or a ton of press in like the last decade, that basically China is using the soft power tactic to like, hey, let's build a deep water port in your, region of East Africa, and we're going to basically use the port. And we'll also, in exchange for building you this amazing port that'll help you guys, economically, you're also going to help us vote in the UN and like, give us some strategic alliance. So you look at some of these countries, like for years, we're never really voting in alignment with China. And then after some of these, governmental infrastructural policies, all of a sudden are now voting in perfect lockstep with China. And people are like, okay, I wonder what exactly is going on. So it's an interesting play of soft power that basically, to win hearts and minds, we're no longer going to be using like military strategy, but instead we're going to be using these sort of soft power initiatives. So it's fascinating. And again, the percentages of this stuff that's like, okay, certain amount of it is good, right? Like there's data that supports that, people have not died of malaria because of USAID, right? And then there's a certain part of it that's like, okay, this is definitely some type of CIA long arm, okay? Mm-hmm. And then there's also definitely part of it that's money laundering.
Yeah. And then and beyond the malaria thing, I know that some of it's also been able to like stamp out like diseases before they get fucking crazy in another nation and come over here.
Isn't there also like the post-war effect, which is basically like after we or like an ally sort of leaves a place, we sometimes try to go like clean it up through USAID. Like, hey, we left a bunch of mines in your fields. USAID's going to come by and like sort of try to clean that up so that we're not only do we decimate your country, but we're going to try to not decimate it for the next 50 years after we've left.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that specifically, but I can imagine that's probably a part of it. They're like, there's a good part, there's a money laundering part, and then there's like a gray part, which is like American imperialism. Yeah. Is it good or not?
Now, you said something, I don't know if this is going to happen later, so we don't have to dive into this, but when you said it flipped the parties on their heads.
This is where it's fascinating. So, Gabe, if you can go back to the doc here.
I can see where this is going, because it used to be the right was always like, we'll back the fucking CIA and the DOD and all this, and now the left is like, whoa, I mean, we need this, and the right's like, no, it's the deep state.
It's fascinating. So, literally that. So, if you go to the senator admitting USA as a CIA front, that link right there, obviously Crystal and Sauger covered this, but...
USAID funds terrorist groups all across this world, making sure that we address the underlying causes for a retreat to terrorism. USAID chases China all around the world, making sure that China doesn't monopolize contracts for critical minerals and port infrastructure all around the world. It supports freedom fighters everywhere in this world.
We are witnessing.
So we can just pause right there. Obviously, you have a lot of Democrat senators that are coming out against this initiative deposit.
Yeah.
And obviously Chris Murphy there from Connecticut is kind of saying what people are saying is the quiet part out loud.
U.S. funding freedom fighters is an interesting history. Freedom fighters is a great euphemism for, and often, there are people who have to fight for their freedom.
Precisely.
But it's interesting. We and Al Qaeda just go back and forth.
Mhm.
I feel like. I think we're back together, aren't we? I feel like in Syria, I think the boys are back in
with
town.
us. It's so complicated with us.
It is.
Right?
Our
It's on again,
relationship
off again.
status it's complicated.
It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just another, indication where people are like, wait, I thought it was just giving rice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought we were just helping people out. I thought we were helping, Peace Corps kids.
And I don't necessarily know that that's a bad thing. Like, I know that there are initiatives that need to get done, but they don't cross my desk very often because I don't have clearance.
Yeah.
But now people are looking at us being like, wait, we're chasing China around to stop them from monopolizing? And that's kind of the Belt and Road thing we were talking about before. If China's going in to help out, hey, if we help out first, then there's not as much of a need. And we can sort of fight this greater thing of communism, but really fighting, other countries' power and their ability to sort of consolidate that power. So him saying this is like, oh, interesting. So you have like sort of Democrats being like, hey, we gotta keep the boys out there, At the most benign way to look at it is like, hey, we need to keep supporting people and giving aid from, people around the world. And then another way of looking at it is like, we got to keep, American imperialism still alive and strong.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, you have people on the right that are like, thank goodness we're stopping this. We need to put America first and put this money back into America. Let's help our homeless people instead of funding, trans operas in Colombia or whatever.
Yeah.
And so now people are like, well, isn't using American imperialism putting America first? So this basically goes down to like a foreign policy thing of like, is American isolationism the way forward for America? And that's basically what this whole thing is exposing. And it seems like the parties have flipped.
I could easily see if Joe Biden, for some reason, wanted to do this. Not that I could see him doing it, but I could easily see senators from both sides making the exact opposite point easily.
Yeah.
Like if the left did this, I could easily see the right out there being like, they want us to be soft on the world stage. They want us to be pussies. I'm sorry. I think America's great. It would be the same people, I feel like.
Yeah. It just is kind of whoever did it first. And now you're just having like this counter reaction. But it almost seems like, again, the parties have kind of flipped on it. So that part is fascinating to me. So I think we should go through some of these initiatives that USAID has funded or has allegedly funded as it's kind of come up on X.
And really quick, it's paused, correct?
As of now, yes.
Got it.
Paused. And so I think the executive order can pause it, but they can't dissolve it without going to a vote. So basically the way it kind of works is you can pause any of these agencies and be like, hey, let's just audit them. Let's look into the funding. Let's go through the backlogs. Let's see what's going on. And then from there, you can decide to, basically dissolve it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So right now it's paused, is my understanding. But if you go back to the links here, this I saw literally just like an hour ago, that at the very bottom, the building of the USAID like main headquarters is like they're basically wiping it down.
Hilarious.
So the U.S. Agency of International Development is getting changed in Washington, D.C.
Hilarious.
So it doesn't look like it's going to be bouncing back anytime soon.
I mean, what a silly choice.
To start here.
Yeah.
To start with the sign.
What a crazy choice.
Well, it seems silly, but there's actually an interesting political move that like Trump and Elon seem like they could be doing. It's a fascinating political strategy.
Okay.
But before we get to all that, let's just go through some of these initiatives.
Yep.
And again, there's a DEI component to this that also is fascinating, that also kind of has flipped the right on its head.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So let's talk. Women in waste management.
Great.
I've been saying they need to tighten up their waists for a long time.
Yeah. That was a big thing for me when it came to this election. I was like, you know what? We don't need more garbage men.
Uh-huh.
We need more garbage people.
Yeah. Garbage people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to democratize garbage.
Yeah, shouts to Foley and Kevin Ryan. They're doing their best to help find all the garbage people.
Exactly. So in 2023, USAID allocated funding for a DEI initiative, both domestically and internationally, supporting events aimed at fostering inclusivity. One such event was recognizing women in waste management. This was a initiative that basically included senior gender advisors for environmental, climate, social and behavioral change in a gender director and a gender specialist that would be basically inserted into the waste management process, both in America but also in other countries around the world.
Yeah, that doesn't seem necessary. But yeah, I mean, like in other countries,
other
like
countries
you don't have enough.
Crazy.
Do women want this? I don't know any women that are like, why don't you let us pick up trash?
Yeah, we can't drive in our country.
Now,
we're not going to drive a truck.
It does make sense. They are better at cleaning. So if you actually think about what would be most effective,
yeah, exactly.
Tidy up your nation.
Yeah. Ooh. So I think that's what part of the initiative was, that they happen to leave out of this. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biased right-wing media.
Yeah.
That they were just giving women Swiffers.
100%.
And they were like, hey, get out there.
Yeah.
All right. Start dusting.
The world is your kitchen. Get out
Yeah. That would be a good initiative, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Just be like, wait, so you want us like doing sanitation and like, cleaning up? No. You guys just go dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just dust.
We got wireless vacuums.
The world is dusty as hell.
There's so much dust everywhere. It's insane.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw an insane Reddit thread. It was so funny. And it was just some guy, it was on the like uncomfortable questions or something. And the question was just, yo, do black people have different colored dust in their house?
Oh, that's really funny. Because what is it, like 90% of dust is skin cells?
It's skin falling. I didn't know that. I hadn't made that connection.
Yeah,
really?
dust is just your skin falling.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all skin?
Primarily.
Oh, I thought it was just shit that was in the air.
What? It just settles? What,
I
you live
don't
in
know how the fucking
Chernobyl?
world works.
You're in the upside down? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on, dude?
What are dust bunnies? They're animals made out of my skin.
That's when you have enough. You know how Dr. Umar calls white people snow bunnies?
Yes.
A dust bunny is...
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going.
Okay.
But no, a dust bunny is just when you get a whole collection of dust and then it kind of just hops around your house.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, that's disgusting. I didn't know that.
Also, from the answer, by the way, no.
They don't have different.
All ethnicities have the same color dust.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And that's why equality is so important.
It's important to look at it. I feel like this is what MLK wanted.
Yeah.
Is that at the core of everyone, okay, we might look different. We might sound different. We might even smell different.
Yeah. That's
But
true.
at the end of the day, we're all the same. Just look at our dust.
Dust, equity, and inclusion, DEI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's up, people? We're going to take a break really quick because it has been alleged that I smell. This has been said countless times. It is complete slander. I don't believe this to be true, but word has gotten out from the Flagrant Boys that apparently I smell. Again, it's not true. Anyone around me, ask anyone, and they'll confirm that this is not the case. But the people over at Mando, they reached out and they said, hey, if you're concerned about putting aluminum on your body, a lot of other products may have this. They might have aluminum that's actually inside their products and you put it right on your lymph nodes. Mando said, hey, we have a solution for you, okay? Because this right here, whole body deodorant, that's right, whole body, no aluminum. None of the bad stuff that's going to, potentially cause issues for you health-wise, okay? Look into it. You want to know what I love about Mando? Mando is clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. Isn't that crazy? Stop showering. You don't need to shower anymore. Think about how many hours you waste showering every single day, right? Like, think about that. In your total lifetime, it's probably years of your life spent showering. With Mando, you get the time back to be making money. With Mando, you're going to get a ton of great smelling scents and fragrances. You're going to get deodorant wipes. You're going to get this whole body deodorant package. This is an invisible cream. I use all of them at the same time, just so I can spend more time with my grandmother. So if you're interested in getting time back, spending time with your dying loved ones, and not showering ever again, what I want you to do is I want you to go to Shop Mando. That's SHOP Mando, MANDO.com, and use the promo code CAMP. That's right, shopmando.com. Use the promo code CAMP. And for the listeners of this show, when you get the starter pack, again, the starter pack is going to have everything you need. You're going to have a cream tube. You're going to get the solid stick deodorant. You're going to get 2 free products of your choice, like the deodorant wipes and, maybe the spray, maybe the, mini body wash, whatever it is that you would like. You're going to get $5 off when you use the promo code CAMP. So if you're interested, check it out, shopmando.com. Now let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? Let's take a break really quick because you're nostalgic. You remember in your childhood sitting down, watching cartoons, having a big old bowl of cereal. I tried doing that now as a 28-year-old father, okay? I sat down with my little baby. I bought cereal from the store. I sat down, and I looked at the box, Immediately was like, this is the craziest thing ever. It's so sugary. I tried taking 6 bites. I felt nauseous afterwards. I mean, it's insane that I used to be able to eat this stuff as a kid. And then I found out about this company called Magic Spoon. Yes, Magic Spoon is an amazing, wholesome, high-quality alternative to some of the, cereal brands I used to eat as a little kid. I mean, they have amazing flavors. They got fruit ring circles. No idea what that could be. They have cocoa, not the P word. They got cocoa loops. And I wonder what that is. And you already know what it is, okay? And here's the crazy thing. It tastes as good and has less sugar and is actually great if you're someone that's counting carbs. If you're a carb-conscious connoisseur, Magic Spoon is a thing for you. It's absolutely amazing. It tastes great. And I mean, in every serving, you're going to get 12 grams of protein on the go when you get the Magic Spoon cereal bars. You remember these cereal bars from when you were a kid. You would sit down, you would crush like a whole box of these. But now Magic Spoon has the alternative that is going to taste as good, if not better, with 12 grams of protein on the go. So if you're interested in trying out some Magic Spoon, specifically the cereal bars, you can probably go to Amazon or find them at a grocery store. But if you want to be frugal, you want to, save some money, use the promo code CAMP. That's right. Secret for all the people listening to this program. The promo code CAMP, C-A-M-P, when you go to magicspoon.com/camp, you're going to save $5 off your next order. So have some fun. Feel like a kid again. Sit down with your kids and enjoy a nice big old bowl of cereal without all the guilt. Let's get back to the show. The world is dusty as hell. We need more women out there to start cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
How about $1.5 million got allocated to an LGBT group in Serbia?
What were they doing?
Yeah, what?
They were killing gay people. No, that's not. So yeah, they were funding an LGBT group in Syria. So
Syria or Serbia?
Yeah, Serbia or Syria?
I said Serbia.
You said Serbia.
Oh, you guys are thinking Syria?
You just
No,
said
you said Syria.
Why would I say Syria? It's obviously Serbia.
Okay, all right.
Well, Syria would be way crazier.
Yeah.
Syria would be insane.
That's what I'm saying, right? If you want to really
Craziest game of Frogger of all time, just being gay dodging freedom fighters in Syria. Dude.
if you want to really put your fucking balls on the line, start funding the LGBT in fucking Syria.
Yeah.
You know? But no, it's in Serbia. It's called the Grupa Izadji.
Yes.
Izadji, which in English means group come out. This is an NGO that received $1.5 million from the Biden administration to advance DEI in Serbia's workplace and business communities to promote economic empowerment for LGBTQI plus people in Serbia.
I could see both sides of this, right?
So let's hear it.
On the one hand, I imagine that Russia doesn't like us promoting gay stuff in Eastern Europe, and so that's a bit of a thorn in their side. But on our side, we're like, hey, we believe that that's we accept that, and it should be a lovely thing. So we should help people in places where it's hard for them to do that. And also, if you start empowering those communities, they'll be more likely to like the U.S. than repressive regimes.
Exactly. So this is where it's all fascinating, okay? Where it's like, is it possible that they're doing this to like basically provoke Russia by instilling Western values?
Right.
And that they can like coax Russia into doing something. So it's like, oh, they're using this as like a front to basically like get Russia riled up.
Yeah.
And then we can use that energy and that like aggravation as, more justification to like prolong the war and basically set up more military units around Russia.
I also feel like as these more like communist regimes have started to accept like McDonald's and shit in their country, we're kind of getting to gay because we're like, well, what do we have that's different than what they're allowing? You're not allowed to be gay. Be gay then.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck it. I believe in spreading dance, dude, all over.
The other thing that's interesting is that people on the right are looking at this and they're like, dude, why are we funding gay stuff in Serbia?
Yeah.
But if you believe DEI and like gay agenda is bad, and we want to like subvert all these other countries, then do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Send DEI to Iran, send DEI to China.
Yeah.
Like just
let people be free.
If you think that that's bad.
Yeah, if you think DEI is upending our government, upend their government.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Use DEI everywhere.
Yeah.
And then gay Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
dude. That's like kind of genius, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you got people on the right that are like, stop making everyone else gay.
The gay Trojan horse just has a huge dong.
Yeah.
Mr.
Bunch of
Ham.
dudes hanging on it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
just an orgy inside of the Trojan horse.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they can tell it's coming, dude. It's just you hear Charlie XCX inside the horse. You're like,
oh no, Brad coming.
I feel like there's some gays in that horse. Yeah, we got a couple other ones. There's
some gays in that horse.
They want to hear the club classics. Okay,
Is that what happened in Toy Story when you pulled the back of Woody's?
There's
some gays in that horse.
There's a dick in my ass. And apparently there was
a dick in my ass.
Yeah. Apparently there was $70,000 allocated for a DEI musical in Ireland. That's what the headline says. A DEI musical, which that's just a musical.
Pass me the shillelagh, I'm gay. Dude,
Yeah, Ireland's.
do we need to be funny that I feel like Ireland has enough money to put on their own gay musical?
Yeah, that's actually
Right?
Right?
So this is apparently what the article is suggesting here. Is that an Irish DEI musical is funded to deliver a, quote, live musical event to promote U.S. and the Irish shared values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and accessibility. The grant was awarded as a part of a cultural exchange initiative aimed to foster deeper international ties through performing arts. Organizers of the event outlined plans to integrate performances that highlight the struggles and triumphs of marginalized communities in both nations.
And I think people see that as more sinister than it is. Like, it's just like we have some money that we can shuttle to things like promoting theater. That's what they settled on.
Yeah.
A show called The Pagado Famine.
Have you ever been to an Irish pub? It's
Yeah.
just a bunch of dudes singing.
Yeah. It is sort of gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's splitting the G.
That's the start of the musical. It's like,
Yeah.
there's no potatoes. What do we eat?
Each other's anus.
Arses. But yeah, $70,000 doesn't seem like that much money, right? Like if you look at the budget of the U.S. government, but then you have people that are saying, why are we putting that money over there?
Yeah.
Why don't we just not do that and spend the money anywhere else?
We also are cool with Ireland. I don't think we need to like really extend too much soft power over there. Serbia, I'm like, okay.
You got to keep hands on everybody. That's
Yeah,
the thing
that's
with
what
this whole
it's all
imperial
about.
game.
Yeah.
But I think this is like, maybe that one is one where I go, yeah, we don't need 70,000 for that. Like, it's not bad. I don't think it's a bad thing, but you just look at the money and you're like, maybe we could like, I don't know, give it to a podcaster or something. You know?
A lot of these like government arts grants and spending are by nature going to go to shit that's kind of dumb because that's where the money comes from, is something that if it was going to make money on its own, it would just make money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it has to be like, oh, we're supporting, good vibes.
But then people are like, dude, we got people dying of fucking fentanyl. We got homeless people here. Let's throw them some money. We got North Carolina's got a hurricane. They're giving them $500. Let's put that money into someplace that matters.
That does seem better.
And you hear it and you're like, maybe.
That does seem better.
But then you're just like, look, those things are sort of apples and oranges. You can't compare the funding for FEMA and then also this
what if
random
whenever
arts funding.
a natural disaster hits a place, we give them money to put on a play?
So
instead of rebuilding your house, why don't you build a set?
Yes.
And then you can dance and put on a gay play after the hurricane.
Katrina, the musical.
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking,
Yeah.
dude.
The whole city was wet.
Yeah. George Bush does care about black people, actually.
Yeah.
It turns out. All right, what about $47,000 for a, quote, transgender opera in Colombia?
Baritone, I assume.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a very tonal opera.
I am a lady.
This was called the As One. It was a, quote, so-called trans opera in Colombia in 2022. And this has come under fire from Donald Trump's administration. They cited this musical as an example of waste of the USAID funds. The funding was a part of a broader initiative to support arts and promote cultural exchange. The opera was created to share the experiences of transgender individuals through music and storytelling, aimed to foster empathy and understanding. It sought to provide a voice, a very powerful voice, to the transgender community, highlighting both the challenges they may face and their resilience.
I am curious if we have also funded plays that aren't about gay and trans stuff that people just aren't freaking out about.
Yeah.
That might be true.
Like if we're just funding a play about Colombian farm workers or whatever, I don't think they would care, right?
Yeah,
They wouldn't
exactly.
care about that same amount of money.
Also,
No.
what if it's good?
That's the other thing. If
Amelia
it's a
Perez would seem to indicate it's not a good play. 'Cause I heard that movie sucked ass from people that would like it.
But also imagine if they were like, oh, we're funding a play about like the historical retelling of like John Burton and Alexander Hamilton. He'd be like, that's a waste of money.
And then you see it.
Then you watch Hamilton and you go,
Yeah.
You're like,
and you go, that is sort of worth it. We should have paid more.
yeah.
That is true. If the government funded that, these same people would be like, they're having black people play Alexander Hamilton, and it sucks. And it's like, actually, there's some bangers. In there.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think this one is like, we got to see it.
Yeah. And every play is a little gay.
It was opera too,
right?
So.
That's true.
Operas are sort of sick.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
On a watched pot never boils.
For anyone that can't
Have a drink in there.
you can't drink while you're singing opera.
Yeah. Why not?
It's not Hamilton so far.
Is my skin really softer?
All right.
Okay. Waste
Yeah.
of money. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Yeah, that one's a little tough. Again, people are looking at this saying, hey, we got people starving in America. Do we need $47,000 to go do that? To go do this soft power?
Yeah.
That could become a hard power.
Yeah.
Hard power, actually.
Trying to make their hard power a soft power.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
As they
Another one they
get
got
rid
people,
of that power altogether eventually.
Another one that got people fired up is $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. Yes. So according to recent reports, $32,000.
Super maybe man.
Super they.
Yeah. Spider person.
Super them.
This was allocated $32,000 for this transgender-themed comic book in Peru. The expenditure was highlighted by the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, as an example that what she described as, quote, wasteful spending of American tax dollars. So back in November, USAID announced a new partnership with UNICEF to support inclusive education of Venezuelan migrant refugees in Peru. And so Peru held the second largest Venezuelan migrant and refugee population in the world, 1.6 million. And they were able to use this money to eventually support some artists that then made this book. An interesting point with this, and kind of all of them, I'm curious, again, the headline is like, they spent $32,000 to make a transgender comic book. I'm like, did they put money to help migrants? Some of that went to like an arts program.
Right.
And then some artist was like, hey, I'm going to make a comic book. And then they were like, all right, well, I guess this is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, if that's how it went and it wasn't about trans, it wouldn't be a headline.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Exactly. So it's just interesting that this has become the talking point. Again, I think with most things, it's like kind of true.
Yeah.
It's like, did America fund a transgender comic book? Yes. Was that the purpose? Probably not.
Yeah.
And did they just support some artists in Peru? And did they happen to make a transgender comic book? I think that's probably the likely case.
Yeah.
But who knows? But all that is to say is that people are pissed off about this and they're like, why are we doing this? Why are we putting the money there?
It's easy, like, first step thinking to just get people, like, who will just see the headlines and walk around and just be infuriated about this and be like, we're funding trans goddamn Peruvian fucking comic. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And it is probably more that. And it's like, for me, it doesn't really necessarily bother me that it's trans if we're funding art and artists can do whatever they want. But to your point, it does feel like we could clean some of this spending up have it for, aid for people whose house fucking burned down in our country.
This is what
if it was 1.5 million, I'd be like, that's a lot of money for a comic book. It's $32,000, and it probably didn't all go to the comic book kid.
So then this is the money laundering thing where people are like, you're spending X amount of money. What percentage of that is just getting pocketed from this person and this little middleman? And once we get into the big numbers, you can easily see how like a couple mil could just get like pulled off.
Yeah.
So a big one that people like to point out is $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street.
This is interesting.
I like this.
Yeah.
Can we pull up on Twitter to search Iraqi Sesame Street, can you? In the mid-2000s, the United States Agency for
Big Bird's just a drone.
Big metal bird. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Big metal bird is coming. I don't think that's good. It looks good.
This is not the real one.
Oh.
But play this. This is so funny. This is what people said. This is what they think it looked like.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Wow. Who made this?
I think this is from the time of the war.
There's no way there's no chance they actually made that.
No, that's not the real one, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm saying someone had to make those puppets. I was like, this shit's gonna be.
No, I bet that was like a sketch on like late night during the war.
I'm
sort of
assuming.
thing.
Yeah.
Fair.
Exactly. But it's just such a fun. This is the idea.
How much money do they give to this?
20 mil.
We are going to need to do some PR in Iraq if we want people back on our side. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There might be some gains that we could have in terms of our public perception over there.
I think so. And
Yeah.
I think Sesame Street, I mean, they're some of our best ambassadors.
Yes.
I mean, Cookie Monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ali the Grouch.
Yeah.
Fun.
Honestly, though, like I find that Arabs and Muslims in general are some of the cleaner people on the planet. Like it's part of the religion that they have to wash a ton.
Yeah.
So I feel like their relationship with, what'd you say, Ahmed the Grouch?
Ali the Grouch.
Yeah, Ali the Grouch. You know, like a trash dump person.
Yeah.
I feel like they would look at that and be like, "Don't bring that to our street.
It
They
is
might
true.
not.
We're not going to be."
But
we
you
don't
need
want
a
anything.
foil for a good show.
Yeah.
So he's the evil guy.
Ooh, fun. He'd
Wasn't
just be
he?
Oscar. He'd just be Oscar.
Was he evil or is he just
He's
grouchy?
grouchy, dude. He's just
That's
grouchy.
just a grouch.
Like he doesn't murder anyone.
Right.
Sesame Street's 20 mil. That's crazy.
So in the mid 2000s, they funded the Iraqi version of Sesame Street, known as Ifta Ya Sim Sim. The initiative was intended to provide early childhood education and promote messages of peace and tolerance amongst children in post-war Iraq. However, the project faced significant challenges due to the ongoing instability of the country, which led to delays and its limited success. Critics of the funding argue that $20 million could have been better utilized for humanitarian aid, such as food, medical supplies, etc., rather than producing a kids' TV show. The failure of the program to achieve widespread reach and tangible results reinforced skepticism over the allocation of foreign aid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because that 20 mil should have gone to helping Iraq. That might not have been the best way to do it. What a brutal set to work on. Fucking bombs are going off. You're at the craft services table.
You're not at the craft service table. You're under a table with your hand above.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
a puppet.
But what
Yeah.
better job
You're
for
safe, at
an
least.
amputee, you know? That's dark, guys. That's fucked up.
Crazy.
That's really bad. But if you think about it, right? We have to
Yeah.
employ all these one-handed people. you know?
100%.
And-
Do the puppets wear hijab? Like,
They all look the same.
Are there woman puppets in Sesame Street?
yeah. Elmo's got that little pink. I think Elmo's a
not
girl.
a lady, dude. We wouldn't have a.
We're going to do trans Elmo.
We wouldn't
No, but
have a
there's a
doll
pink
that you're
one
just
that
supposed
hangs
to
out with
tickle.
Elmo.
That's a woman.
That's true. That's true. I think there's a pink one that hangs out with Elmo.
Oh, maybe. I mean, here, we got...
Elmo's bottom bitch.
Oh, they have the Cookie Monster.
Oh, so
and
this is... see,
They got Elmo,
Falafel
Cookie
Monster.
Monster.
I would have put that girl in a hijab, though.
Yeah.
Who's the big one? I've never seen that one.
Yeah,
that's,
that's Noman.
It's like Ali Sheikh Mohammed. It's like an actual.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I get. Yeah,
Also,
misguided.
20 mil is crazy. 20 grand to dub all of our Sesame Streets and give it to them seems like the appropriate response.
You would think.
Yeah.
Or let's not do Sesame Street, just give them Band-Aids or whatever they need.
But you don't remember Band-Aids when you grow up.
That's what I'm saying. I actually don't think it's a crazy idea to like
This
try
is good
to.
IP.
Yeah, it's good IP, but just give them ours and dub it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
There's another one that I texted you, Gabe, that I would love for you to pull up. This one I have not been able to confirm, and this is actually from a long time ago. This is the textbooks that were apparently sponsored. So there's an element of this that I find fascinating, okay? So people have claimed that specifically, like, for example, with like Palestinians and Israelis, that Israelis are claiming like, oh, these Palestinians are taught from a young age to hate us,
Yeah.
okay? And they're like, how is that possible? Da 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 da.
Sometimes by our actions.
Maybe, right?
At times.
Why point fingers?
At
You know?
times.
Who's
Yeah.
to say? But now people are.
It's a bit of a feud. I feel like it's been back and forth.
Yeah. A 2,000-year saga.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
now in a ceasefire. So there
Yeah.
you go. So maybe we solved it.
I think so. You heard it here first,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Never again.
Trump's gonna build what? Is he gonna put like a resort?
course.
Yeah, golf
Yeah.
course or
Yeah.
something near the water.
Trump Tower.
Sounds great. But this is apparently a USAID-sponsored school textbook to teach Afghan children to count 1 machine gun, 2 knives, 3 pistols to fight Russian infidels.
4 umbrellas. They didn't get that far. 5 pencils. They didn't do a good job. They really cut it.
Well, you
early.
can't go over the top. So this is what some people are claiming. Again, I have not been able to confirm this, okay?
Yeah.
But this is just a Twitter thread that I thought was so funny. That apparently they're like, okay, Russia's trying to exert power in Afghanistan, okay?
Yeah.
They're invading us, right? So let's raise the Afghan children to have a sort of a fluency with weaponry and understanding that Russia's the aggressor and that they need to be taken out at any cost. So when you're 7 years old, you go to school and you learn about 1 machine gun, 2 knives, 3 pistols.
Imagine your child coming home. Like you're just a parent and you're like, how was school today? And they're like, 1 machine gun, 2 knives, 3 pistols. And you're like, good. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're pissed about like, I don't know, like a drag queen reading to your kids.
Yeah.
You got to be equally mad about, you're like, both of these are bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're mad about one of those, or like, oh, they're teaching my kid to be trans.
Yeah.
You got to also be like, they're teaching my kid about knives.
Well, the thing is, we wouldn't care at the time because we did this. We're like, I mean, the Russian infidels do need 3 machine guns. And
Well,
2
we
knives.
teach them that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then we teach our kids,
Yeah.
just regular numbers.
What if this was taught by a drag queen? We actually don't know if there's just a drag queen in an Afghan school.
Let's split the diff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being an Afghan drag queen is one of the easiest things in the world because
Yeah.
you just put on a burqa.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
true,
easy.
actually.
So feminine and glorious.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's a fascinating thing where it's like this is what people are saying is apparently being taught there. I can't confirm this, but again, this contributes to the idea that USAID is being taught as a CIA soft power weapon to infiltrate the hearts and minds in order to do our bidding.
Why is 4 umbrellas? It just doesn't make sense. They're like, we have guns, we have not. All of them are weapons except for 2 of them, and
For
they're
the acid
pencils.
rain,
Yeah, I
you
guess
know,
you're right.
and for some of the bombs and stuff.
It's just hilarious.
Yeah. So you don't want to be overhanded, you know. So you got to be like, yeah, some guns, but throw some pencils in
Yeah,
there.
there's also umbrellas.
Yeah, just toss it in.
Do we know how much money they paid for this, or is this just something that's coming out of?
This is like just
Okay,
This actually came out a while ago. This came out in April, and I just found it randomly, like doing research on Twitter. Again, I can't confirm whether or not this is an actual thing, but I found it very funny. What's up, guys? We're gonna take a break really quick because you need more time. It is the most valuable commodity that exists, and Huel is gonna help you do that. All right. If you're like me, you're constantly on the go. You're constantly running late. I mean, every time I'm leaving my house, I'm going out the door and I'm like, I forgot to eat today. And then I find myself just eating garbage like throughout. I'm like going to the bodega or corner store, just grabbing like sugary nonsense. Or even if I'm trying to eat good, oftentimes it's packed with stuff that's terrible for me. And that's why I love Huel. All right. Huel is everything you need. It is a complete balanced meal, all in this convenient, beautiful little bottle. In this bottle, I'm telling you right now, you're going to get everything you need to power you through the day. 35 grams of protein, 25 vitamins and minerals, 7 grams of dietary fiber, omega-3, omega-6, everything that you need. I mean, it is a scientific process to put all the nutrients packed into this bottle. Not only is it extremely convenient and you can take it on the go with you anywhere you need, it's extremely healthy. It's going to give you all the energy and good vibes to get through the day in order to tackle everything, whether it's going to the gym, going to work, going on a date with your girl, whatever you need. And most importantly, it's extremely affordable. That's right. It is, you're going to see these in your corner store, in your bodega, in your 7-Eleven, gas station back home. Pick up a Huel, try it for yourself. It tastes great. It's easy. It's convenient. It's good for you. And it's very affordable. And it actually just got a little bit more affordable for the people that listen to this show. That's right. Because when you go to Huel.com and use the promo code CAMP, that's Huel, HUEL.com/camp. Use the promo code CAMP, and the listeners of this program are going to be getting 15% off and a free gift. What is that gift? No one knows. But if you want to find out, check it out. Huel.com. Use the promo code CAMP. Get 50% off your order and try it for yourself. Get some time back. Stop eating garbage all day. Get something that actually nourishes your body and powers you for all the tough things that life might throw at you. Let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I need to tell you about how you are potentially entitled for some compensation. That's right. You may have been injured without even knowing it. And I think statistically, most Americans have been injured by this. We know that our food is poison. Many of these companies, these massive conglomerates, are pumping our food with stabilizers and gums and other processed chemicals that are illegal in most other countries. But for some reason in America, they are fully legal and they are allegedly causing many health problems. That's a very small alleged. I actually just read a book about this, Ultra Processed Humans. It's fascinating that the processed chemicals that are going into our foods are terrible for you. I mean, if you were to take a baked cookie and a cookie that's filled with processed preservatives, even if they have the same exact nutritional profile, the one with the preservatives and all the gums and stabilizers and ultra processing chemicals is going to be worse for you by a far, far margin. So If you have been exposed to many of these ultra-processed foods, they've been known to be addictive. They've been known to target children, and they can potentially cause chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, both of which were unheard of 40 years ago, but now affect the lives of thousands of children. It looks like the people over at Morgan & Morgan are fighting for the people once again. That's right. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest law firm. I mean, they have, handled thousands and thousands of cases, recovered billions of dollars for their clients, and now they are targeting the ultra-processed food giants of the world, okay? So if you or your child has been diagnosed with one of these diseases that I mentioned before, you may have legal options. They have helped thousands of families seek justice against these big corporations, and they are ready to fight for you as well. So if you are interested, go to forthepeople.com/gagnon. That's right. That is forthepeople.com/gagnon. If you're interested in potentially hearing more about the way that these companies can be affecting you and your health and the health of your family, and how you may be entitled for compensation because of that. Now, I do have to disclose this is a paid advertisement. Now let's get back to the show.
Would be fun to work in that part of the CIA, CIA rather, where you just get to come up with fun new plans like this.
Fun.
And like pitching that in a meeting, and people are like, "That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Draw the book.
Yeah.
The Shel Silverstein of training freedom fighters."
Well, this is where it gets crazy, is that apparently China created a vaccine, the Sinovac, that they administered to a lot of countries. And again, they saw this as like a soft power technique that if we can inoculate people to COVID, then, we can obviously, gain some influence in the region.
Playing both sides of it. They're doing the old Philip Morris. Like, we may have started it, but
create
we can
the
get
disease,
you off it.
Sell them the cure.
Yeah.
But now, when they went to the Philippines, they started administering the vaccine. And then it came out later that the United States was funding misinformation campaigns for anti-vaxxers in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
If you can Google just
There's
like
something about RFK that gets dragged into this.
If you can search like anti-vax Philippines, basically the U.S. is now pushing this, and for a long time,
one of those three words, right? A neat vax Philippines.
But the Google knew what we needed.
Got it.
So yeah, it's an interesting thing. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see the headline.
Don't take the vax. It'll make you Chinese.
That's really good. You didn't even have to move
I didn't even know I could do that. Yeah.
Most people that do it actually move their actual neck to do it.
Yeah.
It's great.
I didn't know I had that. That was the first time.
Yeah, how'd you
fun.
How'd you do that?
Just kind of channeled it. Yeah, I've been doing push-ups all morning. It came out of me.
Was that a vaccine injury?
Yeah.
But yeah, according to Reuters, the U.S. tells Philippines, we made a misstep with our anti-vax propaganda effort. So when this came out originally in 2024, everyone was like, wait, why is this happening? It's come out more recently that apparently some of this media effort came through a USAID initiative to basically get people to not take the Sinovacs. So we don't want people taking the Chinese vaccine, but we can't just tell them don't take that one. Let's just tell them to not take any vaccine to basically thwart China's influence in the region.
And the same group that's like, if you're against it in the U.S., fuck you.
It's
It's also funny. They were like, but we can get them on our, they were never going to get them any vax. There's
Exactly.
no way around it.
But China got there first.
Yeah,
so it's better to have them not get favor with China, or vice versa, rather, and let's just leave them not vaccinated, but still, closer with us.
What if we just worked out our issues with China?
Yeah, what if
we
just
didn't
talked?
have to do such crazy shit all the time?
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just think of that?
It's just a thought. It's just a thought, dude.
It's a good fucking idea.
I was fucking eating fried rice the other day, and I was like, why can't we all just get along?
Yeah, what did you guys do
I
to
love,
rap, right?
dude, yeah.
This is
In
fun.
Chinatown the other night, I was like, dirty but fun.
Yeah. So the media component is pretty interesting. That apparently there's like a lot of backdoor media stuff that's happening. One of the things that people pointed out is that there's $8 million from
backdoor media.
Yeah.
That's my favorite type of media.
So there's mainstream media,
MSNBC.
and then there's the BBC, the backdoor broadcast. But apparently $8 million went to Politico from USAID, which again, this raised a lot of suspicions. Everyone's like, wait, are they just buying off like American media? Like what's happening? Like who's controlling this money? Yada, yada, yada. And the funding in question is actually quite interesting. Again, people are looking at this saying like, this is, messed up. Actually, it seems like the truth of this is that a lot of the payments came from Politico Pro accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So basically Politico Pro has like a second tier that gives like a super, super in-depth analysis. And sometimes those subscriptions are like $40,000 to $50,000. So basically, in order to get all of your federal employees Politico Pro accounts, you might have to spend $8 million.
Wow.
So that one is like, doesn't seem as crazy to me. It's like, yeah, you kind of want your...
Yeah, how much is the government spending on like Adobe? You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably a decent amount.
Yeah.
But this was one that initially sounded crazy, where it's like, wait, $8 million is going to Politico?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it's in the form of subscription. So it's not actually as crazy as people originally thought.
This does, I mentioned this earlier, but this is just really is one of those stories where you need to read more than a headline and half of an article about it, because all this shit sounds insane, and some of it is.
Yeah.
But some of it is like, it's not quite as nefarious as it sounds.
Now, there are some that are more nefarious than they sound.
Good.
So there's a ton these are older ones that apparently are not really like being discussed at length right now.
Yep.
But there's such things as like the Guatemala syphilis experiments.
Okay.
So these are apparently experiments that were carried out.
One crazy bachelor party.
Yeah. Like, you said we're going to Colombia. You're like, look, I misunderstood.
We're going to Guatemala.
Yeah,
You ever seen the pyramids?
Yeah. But this happened in 46 to 48. So this is prior to the USAID's creation. But this came from a group that was basically like the precursor to USAID. So this basically was this National Institute. It was basically a funding support from the National Institute of Health and the Pan American Sanitary Bureau and the Institution of Inter-American Affairs. And basically, they funded research that used various unethical methods, such as injecting 1,300 Guatemalans with syphilis and gonorrhea.
That's insane.
And only about 700 individuals received treatment. So, not great. Now, this wasn't USAID specific.
Wait, why did we do that?
So, the nature of the experiments are sort of undisclosed.
Let's see if the Browns get sick.
Yeah, what the
That's
fuck?
what we.
I mean,
that is fucked up.
So
We could have gave them Sesame Street. Like, what the fuck, dude?
yeah.
Syphilis Street.
Yeah. So many of them, it's like a whole thing. It's crazy. It's basically similar to the Tuskegee syphilis experiments.
Yeah.
Where they were basically trying to see, like, hey, is there a treatment for syphilis that we can, test on an actual population?
Oh, don't worry, guys. In 2010, the U.S., the President, Secretary of State, and Secretary of Health and Human Services formally apologized. So I think it's
nice.
water under the bridge.
All right,
we're fine.
Yeah, drop it, Guatemalans.
My bad for
over.
even
Said
bringing
sorry.
it up. I shouldn't have even said it. Again, this is not USAID specifically. This is a precursor too. I think that's worth noting.
Multiple unsuccessful lawsuits have since been filed in the U.S.
We also didn't find out about this until 2005. Holy shit. What else have we done?
Oh, buddy. A lot.
Yeah. So there's forced sterilizations in Peru, apparently, that happened. So in the 90s, USAID provided funding and technical support for reproductive health initiatives. On the surface, this was seen as a way to support Peru as a voluntary effort to reduce poverty through birth control, but later testimonies and investigations revealed that allegedly 300,000 indigenous women were misled, coerced, or even subjected to sterilization without their consent. USAID did provide funding for reproductive health in Peru at the time. It is still debated and contested whether or not the USAID knowingly funded or supported the forced sterilizations. So, again, another one of those things where
got
it's
it. So this is the Peruvian government doing this to a native population.
or an NGO, rather,
Got it.
operating in Peru.
Got it. So we don't know if the money was actually like fully earmarked for like a bad CIA operation, or if it was earmarked as like, this will help people, and then someone down the ladder was actually very nefarious. and
Right.
evil.
But then the question goes, it's like, well, should we be allocating money to NGOs that have the ability to be doing
Evil stuff.
this evil shit?
Got it,
Like,
got it.
is the benefit of, birth control and like reproductive health worth sterilizing 300,000 indigenous women? Sort of a gray area, I'm not going to step in that one.
Yeah. Look, there's two sides to this one.
Yeah, I think we go back
Imagine being like kind of not liking your job and getting assigned this project, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
God, how's work? Oh, God, pain in the ass. I had to sterilize 300,000 indigenous Peruvian women. That's horrible. I know.
Yeah.
I don't like my boss either.
Yeah. Who likes their job?
He doesn't even
right?
let me leave early on Friday.
Yeah. And honestly, though, if you look at what we were talking about
That's
Peru
horrible.
before, the trans comic books,
Yeah.
that seems like a walk in the park.
Yeah,
compared to
Sesame
this.
Street for 20 mil. I'm like, sure, run it up.
Yeah. Apparently, USAID also had a role in the Haitian agricultural collapse in the 90s. So, Basically, there was this.
We've fucked with Haiti quite a bit, haven't we?
Well, France did way worse.
Certainly.
Well, France also gave them their independence, so
Gave is a big,
yeah.
that's
After that
fair.
war,
Yeah.
and the rebellion that they had,
But they also saddled them with debt. Haiti got so screwed by. There's a great video on like how France is still collecting
are they
on
really?
Haiti. Yeah,
Oh, I had no idea.
yeah, it's crazy.
Mm.
Sorry, but also in the '90s we came in and kicked them while they were down.
They basically had
Let's
this.
get back to how we're awesome.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry, we're gonna get to that.
Please,
I'm kidding.
please.
No, this is good information.
They basically promoted this trade liberalization and subsidization effort of U.S. rice exports. So USAID facilitated sort of cheaper American rice, known as Miami rice, into Haiti. This move effectively undercut and wiped out Haitian rice farmers because they were unable to compete with the artificially cheap import. And then this caused Haitians to abandon rice cultivation, leading to the collapse of domestic food production. Haiti now is heavily dependent on imported foods,
God.
making the nation vulnerable to price fluctuations and shortages. So again, another one of those things where it's like, we're trying to help.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure it out. And then maybe some bad stuff happens.
Didn't Tom's run into this issue? Remember the shoe company Tom's?
Oh, yeah.
Where they
Every
would
pair that you bought, then they would donate
to like
the kid.
people that needed shoes.
That's why I
basically.
never bought them.
Putting local like cobblers out.
Basically, yeah. So the local cobblers, there's like a huge vacuum now for people that make shoes with like the local things, and then people that want like to buy the rubber for the local shoes aren't making the rubber. Like it's basically a huge downstream effect for the economy there. But they have shoes.
So often it's like introducing an invasive species to an
Truly.
environment.
Yeah,
Like we do this with business, we do it with the government. We fuck with even well-intentioned sometimes.
Yeah.
You fuck with shit. It has unintended consequences, and we're like,
You give them rice for a decade, and then 10 years of people not cultivating rice and using the
Right.
fields and everything, and then 10 years of information is gone.
a few kind-hearted millennials simply want to get rid of Joseph Kony, and then you end up naked masturbating in the middle of the street in San Diego.
That's very true.
You don't
dude.
know where things are
Yeah.
going to lead
You got to give a man a fish sometimes.
when you're trying to be a white savior.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
right?
so hard to be a good white savior
Yeah.
because you don't know what's going to happen after.
Yeah. No, it just goes into this sort of like greater political feeling that a lot of like MAGA Republicans feel now, where they're just like staunchly isolationist, where they're like, hey, let's just stop meddling. And I think this is sort of what they're reading and where they're getting that idea from.
But you don't meddle a little bit.
But then
Other
that's the
people
thing.
start meddling.
If you're not meddling,
other
someone
people
else is
start
going to meddle.
meddling.
And then you just let them meddle.
You
You
know
know what I mean?
meddling?
What
Yeah.
if we put all this money back into America? We don't know what we're going to be fucking up.
Exactly.
We already own it. What are you going to do over here?
The Tom's thing is interesting because the whole marketing campaign was everything that you bought. If you bought a pair, they would donate a pair to a kid in Africa.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I bought my sister a pink glittery pair of Tom's,
Yeah.
and then they donated a pink glittery pair to a kid in Africa, and then they murdered
shit
him
beat out.
for being a witch. They said he was a witch, and they killed him.
And there were two sides to that story. We still have to look into the facts.
Yeah. No,
He might
he
have
could
been a witch.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to say he's not a witch.
Yeah.
There's also an interesting thing that people have pointed out in regards to COVID, that apparently USAID was sort of supporting research in Wuhan. So allegedly, Fauci's NAID and the USAID organization spent $40 million in taxpayer money to fund research in Wuhan, China, that was for a project on, quote, understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. The lead researcher on this project, his name was Ben Hu. Many people say that he could allegedly, again, this is sort of conspiratorial, that he's, quote, patient zero, the first person to contract COVID. And the completion of this payment and the research is stated as being in 2019. But some people are looking at the timeline and they're suggesting that this is going all the way back to 2014 and that we're actually doing research in Wuhan at the virology lab that some people speculate is where COVID leaked from.
Yes.
So this one is, again, sort of debated in some capacity, but according to Wall Street Journal here, U.S.-funded scientists among 3 of the early researchers who fell ill among COVID-19. Now, you could say, yeah, these guys are researching COVID-19 and they're around it because they're researching it and then they happen to get it.
Yes.
Is it proof that they invented it? Is it proof that they created it in a lab?
Yeah.
You can't necessarily say that.
And also, it's not like they were trying to do it, but it does seem like it came from the lab. The CIA even said it's the most likely conclusion is that it leaked from that lab.
And then people point to like the Wuhan military games that happened in 2019, I believe.
I didn't have a ticket to that.
You should have gone.
What were they doing?
Can you look up the Wuhan military games? This is basically what like a early stage conspiracy
Just a
theory.
bunch of Chinese dudes riding bats around like Khaleesi.
They do these military world games where like they invite basically like active military from all different militaries from around the world, and they all compete in different like sporting events. It's almost like an Olympics of like, you know, fit military personnel as a way to like sort of raise morale.
Motto: military glory, world peace.
Yeah, to create peace amongst different militaries. And so there was, you know, people from all different countries, all at these different events. And this was in 2019 in Wuhan. And people are claiming that this is when it was effectively spread. That they had these games and then they infected different military personnel from around the world. Well, again, this has not been confirmed, but this is, you know, where the conspiracy sort of stems from. I mean, if you're going to do it, that'd be a good
That would be how you do it.
It sounds awesome to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Put that on
should definitely
TV.
be televised.
Put that on
Since
TV.
when is Wuhan so fucking popular? I've never heard of it before COVID.
Yeah. No, my parents
why
would
would they-
summer there,
yeah.
but they never, they didn't talk about it
They
that
didn't
much.
talk about it much. The fact that they had this crazy lab there and the games. Can we get a picture up of Wuhan? I'd love to see the skyline.
Yeah,
Also, is that where that crazy cool city is? Chongqing?
I've never heard
The
of it.
one that's like it's like basically like
Looks nice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Han.
Yeah, it seems like a beautiful little area. Oh, speaking of awesome military events, have you seen the armored MMA?
No.
awesome.
The medieval MMA?
No.
That's awesome.
Can you
I've
search this up?
been saying this on TikTok, and then it was on randomly at a bar we were at, and I was like, "Oh, Mark, have you seen this before?"
Pull this.
That's a great bar viewing.
It's an all-time amazing sport. Like, I can't believe this is not more popular.
Oh my God.
They're blunted swords.
Can
They
you
wear
mute the
a ton of
audio real
armor.
quick?
It's all blunted swords. They wear like crazy armor, and they're in a literal octagon or sometimes like a square ring, and then they just beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
how sick is this?
It's like battle bots, but way cooler.
And so this is one of the hardest knockouts. Let's check it out, okay? So these guys are teeing off.
Event like this, no sex, lots of sex.
Yeah, I think there's a tipping point.
Yeah.
Also, this is one of the competitors. This is M1 Medieval. There's also AMMA.
Yeah,
This
there's a,
is sick.
I mean,
And then he just beat the brakes off a guy.
Take me to your Lord.
yeah, I mean, look at him. I mean, just beat with the
God.
He's out. He's got to be out. Yeah, he's out. And this is funny. Their ref isn't wearing the
Armor.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In the AMMA, the ref also wears the armor.
Oh,
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Ref should be on a horse. Where is this? This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like in England somewhere, countryside.
Like
beautiful.
most of these crazy sports, I'm going to assume Eastern Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome.
I would watch that.
Absolutely. And so-
USAID should put money into that.
yeah,
Yes.
right? This is what we need. This is the
Yeah.
cultural export that America needs.
Sesame Street. What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's like doesn't even make sense. This is awesome. So yeah, this is just something that people should check out.
All your most feudal feuds.
Don't you hate your feudal feuds?
Yeah.
So then there's some other things people point out of wasteful spending. $6 million went to Egypt for tourism. So
Egypt's doing fine.
you would think
The pyramids.
They got some sick pyramids.
Yeah, wait, why are we promoting Egyptian tourism? I guess the thought is like we want to be close with Egypt because, it's just they're a key ally, so just throw some money their way.
The thought with all of this
Are they an ally? I don't even know. but
is
like,
just creating a
yeah,
presence. You just want to be out. You want to be facey.
Mhm.
You want to be with the world, just having just vibes with everyone.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing it, China's doing it. So according to this, the funding supported projects like improving transportation so that people in rural areas could access tourism jobs or markets more easily. They're also including programs to help families earn a living, create small businesses, getting job training, and benefiting from the economic boost of tourism. And the goal was to make sure that the tourism industry growth directly benefited everyday people, not just big business.
I like
See, that's nice.
that. Seems great.
And we a lot of Americans go to Egypt. We want to make sure that the tourism is smooth and on the up.
Exactly. So again, this is one of those things that seems like a perfect like threefold thing. It's like, okay, we're going to send some people over there to help transportation, and we're going to help the everyday Egyptian get access to tourism.
Yep.
We're going to help the everyday Egyptian get access to tourism, right? That sounds great. We're also going to send some, cover guys that are going to go over there and maybe spy a little,
Spy.
and just, check out what's going on. Who's better to talk to the tourist than a CIA guy, you know? And so he's able to get in touch with the tour guides. He knows what the vibe is. We got boots on the ground over there. On top of that, we're now kicking it with the Egyptian government. They're like, oh, these United States guys, they're great. They're giving us money. They're helping us out. They're supporting us. So that way, when China comes knocking on their door, all of a sudden America can be like, hey, we're boys. We're helping you. We're helping you guys get tourism. Da 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 da. And then on top of that, there's a $6 million deal. Maybe 300,000 of that goes to a local politician in Cairo. Maybe another 400,000 goes to a local politician in DC that's helped working out the deal.
Yeah.
So they're happy.
Yeah, they're getting a little on the take.
So it does everything.
Yeah.
It's a CIA arm to put spies in. It helps the people. It gets money into individuals' pockets to, like, you know, privately and personally get very rich. And it seems like something like this, I don't know, it hasn't been confirmed, but would just tick all the boxes of like what all the speculation is.
Yeah. Some good idea, some money laundering, which is why it's so hard to cut government spending, because there's always some rationale and there's people who are making money that are willing to defend it. But at some point, we can't just be in debt forever, maybe, or can we? I don't know.
This is the question. So now people say, we're dropping $6 million in Egypt. Why don't we put $6 million here in America?
Right.
And you're like, that's also a good point. But, and this is where it's interesting that things get flipped, because now you got people on the right being like, put that money into America. And then you got people on the left being like, no, let's keep spying on Egypt.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know which one is the better one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the isolationist in me, you know, and like the people that wants, you know, sovereignty for all people and sort of self-determinism is like, hey, let's get the fuck out of there. You know, almost like on some Ron Paul vibes. Like, let's just let everyone be free and do whatever they want. But then like the imperialist in me, you know what I mean? The Kissinger inside all of us is like, let's stay over there.
Yeah.
Let's put some spies in
and
the
it's also like, hey, if we're isolationists, who's doing shit?
Exactly.
Is it going to be China plus everybody versus us just trying to hang out?
The second England was like, let's be isolationist. We just murked them. You know what I mean? They lost all their power.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do? But it's just an interesting.
People don't like when you fuck with their shit either.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which creates more danger at home, because you might be creating freedom fighters who don't like what you're doing.
Exactly. So it's just another one of those interesting things where it's like, hey, we're just now creating, it's this one specific moment is creating everyone to really evaluate like what their geopolitical and like, you know, foreign policy position to be.
There's one thing Trump has been good at is forcing people to rethink things.
Yeah. Moving the Overton window or whatever the fuck it's called to like some really wild places.
Yeah.
How much would they get? $6 million?
That was $6 million.
Whoever brokered the deal for 20 for Sesame Street, really?
Yeah, who's the
Wolf
agent?
of Wall Street?
Yeah, who
that
worked
one.
on that?
It was CIA.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I feel like an Iraqi was not the one that was doing the deal. You know what I mean? That seems more like a West Hollywood situation.
Yeah,
you know, that seems like a Glendale guy. Maybe
just on his phone. No. Picture this.
Yeah.
It is Sesame Street, but we're doing Iraq, baby.
Elmo's not reading a script for less than $2 million.
Yeah. Think explosions. Think sand. You're gonna love it. It's different. It's imaginative. I'm smoking hookah right now to celebrate. Sign the deal.
Aladdin was a hit. Why can't this be a hit?
Yeah.
Right? Think
so
about
funny.
it. It's wild. And again, the list goes on and on and on. $2 million sex change situation in Guatemala. So again, this is what the headline said. The truth is unfortunately a little bit less exciting. But the headline says that the USAID, and also according to the USAID website, allocated $2 million to support transgender-led organizations in Guatemala. This funding aimed to enhance the delivery of gender-affirming healthcare and advocate the improved access to these kinds of services. The grant was awarded to the Asuncion Lambda, a Guatemalan organization dedicated to promoting equality and participation for LGBTQI individuals, and it strengthened the capacity of trans-led groups to provide healthcare services and advocate for the transgender community. That's more or less what the article and the headlines on X have been saying. Why are we funding sex changes in Guatemala? Now, the truth of it is that $2 million was allocated to these groups that are doing like LGBT healthcare, some of which is sex changes. Certainly a smaller portion of that budget was actually used for sex change therapy, where it seems like most people are speculating, but it hasn't been confirmed that the majority of that budget went to, you know, like just general care and like, you know, housing people that are gay that maybe got kicked out of their houses, yada, yada, yada. So it's a little bit less exciting, but certainly there has been money from the U.S. government to fund sex changes in Guatemala. And people were like, again, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you got to put money somewhere and you got to help the Guatemalans. Like, I'm sure there's a rationalization from people on the left, like, hey, let's put some money and try to help uplift human rights around the world.
Yes.
Should we be the leaders in American or in global health? And is gender specific health a part of that? So again, it just goes back to your position on foreign policy. You're like, should we be out here being the leaders, or should we just focus on America?
Yeah.
It's really whatever you think it is, and that's why everyone's so split on it. What's up, guys? We're gonna take a break really quick because I gotta tell you about an amazing service known as Blue Chew. That's right, Blue Chew is a service that basically delivers this chewable tablet to your door whenever you want, once a week, once a month. I don't even know if they could do it that frequently, but they'll send it right to your door. You don't have to go to the doctor and have some awkward conversation with some guy in a lab coat, some dude that's judging you, probably, if I had to guess. With Blue Chew, it's super discreet. The packaging is discreet. It's just a couple questions on their website, and they will send you chewable tablets that have basically the same active ingredients as like a Viagra or a Cialis, but at the fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. It's great. It truly is. I mean, one time I was in the woods and we were cold and it was raining, and I pitched a tent with the help of Blue Chew, and everyone gathered under it, and we were safe, and it saved me and a lot of lonely people. So if you're interested in Blue Chew, here's how you get it. You're going to go to bluechew.com and use the promo code GAGNON. That's right, GAGNON. It's kind of funny, Gagnon as the promo code. I don't know why exactly, but it is funny. And you're going to receive your first month for free. That's right, bluechew.com. Use the promo code Gagnon. Check it out. Blue Chew. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem one where it's like I understand the less, conspiratorial angle on it, but it does seem like a place we might not be needing to spend money.
But I do think that the Guatemalan women's
if we're going to
soccer
spend
team,
money in Guatemala, we need to sterilize the
300,000.
No,
don't do that.
Okay,
we already tried,
okay.
and people were pissed off.
I mean, this kind of works. This is actually a way to,
oh,
you know what I mean? Rebrand.
Yeah, war never changes; it just shifts names.
That's right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it does change names.
Yeah, we're not exactly. Now it's Juanita.
Yeah,
there you go. We're not gonna go and sterilize them anymore. Let's just chop their dicks off.
Yeah, dude,
and call them trans. Dude, imagine the forced trans surgery guy waking up.
That's tough. Yeah,
waking up being like, "What?
What? Yeah, what the hell?
What the? Where's my dick?
Who stole my dick?"
But yeah, there's a ton of other things. There's one. This one is interesting. It's not specifically USAID, but I had to put it in because it's just hilarious. In 2009, so this is just what the headline says: almost $1 million used to subsidize a pancake house in Washington D.C. That's the headline.
Yeah, I'm on this one.
That's
America first, baby.
Yeah, right. Like we gotta. It's the International House of Pancakes. Like, what's better for foreign policy than the International House?
Right.
So apparently in 2009, the Department of Health and Human Services awarded $765,000 in community economic development to the Anacostia Economic Development Corporation, and this organization used $500,000 of this grant to acquire a 30% stake in the Jackson Investment Company, facilitating the establishment of an IHOP in Washington, D.C.
I mean, what a convoluted way to get to the IHOP.
Yeah, I don't even get this.
This is where people are like, oh, this is money laundering.
Yeah.
Or this is people stealing money just outright, where it's like, okay, we're awarding $1 million to a grant, and then that grant is going into a development corporation, and then that development corporation is acquiring a stake in an investment company, and then that investment company is facilitating the funds in order to open an IHOP.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, are they just stealing money? Where's the rest of this money going? The reason
IHOP's great. We really need to talk more about that.
Yeah, it is an all-time great spot.
One of the if
you're gonna be 3 a.m. awake somewhere, an IHOP
and you
is
want
not a bad
Rudy
place.
Tooty fresh and fruity, dude. Come on.
This is just not what I think about when I think about money going to like help like food deserts, for example. Usually it's like, hey, we should get a better grocery store chain or places for people to buy natural food, because if you leave companies up to themselves, they won't always develop in poor areas, and you do need to put money into development groups so that you can give people decent options so they can be healthier.
Yes.
It won't have an immediate payoff, which is why the government needs to do it, but you're investing in the own health of your people.
This.
But none of that works if it's an IHOP.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, what if they have just all natural, great organic food at a low price? That's IHOP's promise.
Is it?
I think so.
Food is not organic.
It's full of red dye.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I remember There was like a pancake house in town, and one year, like Little League, we were excited. We had an all-star game, and so the whole team, the dads were like, let's take everyone out to pancakes before. And we ate a bunch of pancakes before our game, and we got our shit pushed in because we were so tired. Everyone was like sleeping on the fucking bench because we had pancakes before an athletic event.
Yeah, that's tough. I did that one time.
Yeah.
It wasn't even for an athletic event. It was for a dumb race.
Yeah.
We went to, where was it? It was Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, I was there with Schultz. We actually filmed a vlog dropping in on his YouTube channel that is still there to this day that accounts the entire event. Basically, we went there and we were like, hey, what's there to do in Pittsburgh? They were like, nothing. And we were like, come on. And they were like, all right, fine. There's a pancake, like waffle spot. And we were like, okay, is there anything else to do? And they were like, we have one of the steepest hills in the country.
Steepest street, like paved street.
One of the steepest paved streets. And we were like, really? And they were like, yeah, it's over here. And it's not like there's a monument or anything. It's just a guy's driveway, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like a quarter mile long, and it's just
Up Mount Washington, I imagine. Yeah.
Just a steep thing.
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh, this is perfect. So we went there. We ate maybe a half dozen pancakes, or I think there were waffles, regardless. And then we finished up, and we were like, oh, let's go check out this hill. And so we drive over full of these waffles, see the hill, and then someone's like, hey, let's race up the hill. And so then me, Schultz, and Alex race up the hill, foot race.
Yeah.
We sprint. I win. I don't want to brag. Well, it doesn't matter for the story. Just cut that out. Who even cares? Right? And then
Keep it in.
I get to the top, and they go, let's run it back. Let's do one more race. And at this point, I'm winded.
Yeah.
This is like maybe a 2.5 minute race uphill.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, all right. Race again. Make it to the very top. I win again. The guys are pissed. Immediately, I start going, I don't feel that good. Puke everywhere. Projectile vomit.
Oh, nice.
And the whole time, they went from being pissed that they lost to now being so happy.
Like we got content.
Dying
baby.
laughing.
Yeah.
Just filming me throwing up in the woods.
And then I'm sure you did a very uninspired show that night.
I felt great, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I love throwing
You
up.
purged.
Yeah, I love it.
It is good for you.
It's one of my favorite.
You heard it here first.
$100 million went to Afghanistan for what they believe to be poppy production.
Ooh, that's in line with a lot of conspiracies.
From 2002 to 2019, the Agricultural Development Fund received $100 million to provide loans to Afghan farmers to cultivate lawful crops. And people have looked at the poppy production in the window that they were sort of getting funding. And it basically spikes the second that they get funding and then sort of goes down after the funding is taken away from them.
One of the other reasons I believe that poppy production spiked is because they weren't allowed to do it under the Taliban. And when we took over, we were like, let it fly.
Yeah.
Taliban
let's
doesn't like
make
flowers?
those pills.
Yeah. That's so weird.
I don't think they liked opiates.
Yeah.
Got it.
They're not big on bagels. It's kind of a Jewish food.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to make poppy seed bagels for the
Yeah.
Jews. You crazy?
Got it.
But yeah, so people again point at this and they're like, wait, are we funding like heroin development?
Yeah.
Why? And so again, none of this has necessarily been confirmed, but it just sort of leads into a larger web where people have kind of speculated that there's been a heroin situation play in Afghanistan that now there's a little bit more credence to the theory as some of the books are getting opened.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a big effort from USAID to provide trade assistance to Ukrainian models and designers, allowing them to participate in international events such as Fashion Week in New York, Paris, and London.
Yeah, fund this.
You're in on that one.
Yeah, I have no real complications with this.
U.S. lawmakers raised concern about the USAID funding practices, but on the other hand, proponents of the initiative argue that supporting Ukrainian businesses through international exposure can not only help but sustain the country's economy and also spread a message of peace and Ukrainian support during wartime.
Yeah, great. More Ukrainian models. I'm in on that one.
Miles is actually cranking his hog under the table right now. It's hard to tell, but
it's a little like honeypot situation.
Yeah.
To reference a future episode. It's fascinating that they're like, hey, let's get some of these Ukrainian models.
Yeah.
Send them around the world.
Yeah.
And every time people look at them, they're like, free Ukraine.
Free Ukraine.
Yeah, we need to free
I'll
them.
pay for that, but free Ukraine. Shit.
Yeah, right?
Shit.
It's like, it's kind of genius.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you want to get people on board with like the Ukraine vibe, just show them these baddies.
Ukraine's obviously, everyone talks about the war now. I feel like it was a hot spot for catfishing back in the day. It was like a big 90-day fiance spot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But now it's actually a way better rebrand because you fly a girl out from Ukraine, you're like, hey, come spend a couple weeks with me. It's actually humanitarian work.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Be
Yeah.
like, dude, you flew a girl in? You're like, bro, she's a refugee.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to save her.
Yeah.
But this does just seem like foreign policy created by like some guy in a frat.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, let's take their like,
Yeah.
let's like take some of like the babes, and if we just put them on the world stage, people will be like, bro, like these guys are sick.
Picture this. More hot bitches everywhere. You know what I mean, dude? Dude.
Like
broiler, dude. There are not enough sluts from Ukraine everywhere.
Yeah. Look, if you want people to care about your country,
Yeah.
they gotta care about the
Yeah,
bitch.
think about the babes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
what's the ratio at this party going to be? Like,
Yeah,
guys?
exactly.
We got to fly a couple
And that's
more.
how they think about the world.
Yeah.
What's the ratio like on this planet?
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
good enough.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently that's what they did, and USAID and your tax dollars,
Yeah.
what you guys have cumulatively contributed, probably went directly to flying Ukrainian models around the world.
Well, that's true.
Fine.
That's
Fine.
also the pre-tax dollars.
Yeah. All right, let's go through a couple more of these, shall we? Oh, this is an interesting one. Apparently, we allocated $50 million for condoms in Gaza.
Mm.
So, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, I actually don't know how to pronounce her name.
Leave it.
Leavitt. Leave it in. That's why I need the condoms.
Yep.
I don't know if it's Leavitt or Levitt. You would think Levitt, but it's got an L-E-A.
Everyone's saying pull out of Gaza, but we're dropping condoms. You don't even have to.
Yeah. No, you can just go in there, start blowing it up if you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently we got $50 million worth of condoms in Gaza, and they labeled it, again, according to the White House describing the Biden administration's policy on this, a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. USAID reported that in 2023, approximately $60.8 million was allocated for contraceptives globally, with only about $7 million specifically for condoms. Notably, none of these funds were directed to Gaza or any part of the Middle East. The only regional recipient was Jordan, which received a small shipment of oral and injectable contraceptives valued at $45,000. That comes from The Guardian.
It does seem like their least prevalent safety concern.
Yeah.
Like if you're like in Gaza and there's bombs going
Rank
off,
the
you're not
safety.
like, whoa, let's practice safe sex. Like
Yeah.
nothing here is safe. That being said, it's like giving more condoms to people cuts down on, unwanted pregnancy. It cuts down on unwanted disease because if condoms are just around, you might be more likely to use it.
Cuts down on some unwanted freedom fighters.
That's right. Yeah, actually, yeah, they're
Yeah.
nipping terrorists in the bud.
Yeah, truly.
Like, I wonder if, like, that's the crazy thing is that I bet you some people are thinking that.
Yeah.
But they're like, dude, no, we're going to help with, contraceptives and safe sex. And they're like, let's just make them stop.
Yeah, it's hard to radicalize like a 40-year-old. He's like, dude, I'm not going to radicalize. But it's really easy to radicalize a future person.
That's when they get radicalized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, there's an organization called the International Medical Corps, the IMC. It's a U.S.-based organization operating in Gaza. They received $1.2 million from USAID intended for medical and trauma services, including family planning. The IMC also recently clarified that no U.S. government funds were used to procure or distribute condoms in Gaza. So while it may be fun to joke about, it sounds like the money was given to the organization. The organization chose to purchase these contraceptives themselves. So,
I see. So people at the organization are wrapping it up.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
It's so many of these are like, it's a good headline, so it's interesting, but it's like probably not a lot of corner stores open.
Yeah.
People
probably
still
not.
need to have sex.
Barely any
and some of
corners.
them don't want to have kids because they're in a bit of a tough scenario right now. The
And you can't
hospitals
pull
are
out.
closed.
You're not going to pull out. It's a whole mess.
Come on.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
not no fun.
Come on. What are we doing? Life is short.
Yes, yeah.
The evidence is all around us. I'm fucking spraying inside you
Yeah.
with respect.
Yeah, with all due respect. of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're my wife. You're my,
Yeah,
you're my-
100%.
You're my literal
I will
wife,
look you in the eyes while I release my seed into your belly.
which is why we need a condom.
Correct.
Yeah. And so yeah, from that perspective, you kind of get it, Yeah.
How many condoms could you buy for 50 mil, dude?
It's a lot of condoms.
Yeah.
But are they ribbed for her pleasure? Because
I
that's
sort of doubt it.
Yeah, maybe not.
I sort of doubt. I bet you there's a numbing agent on the outside.
Yes. A Mossad numbing agent.
Yeah, we're gonna get them from the inside.
Yeah, I think the people of Gaza should get whatever for free right now. It's been a tough year. and they should get whatever.
Yeah,
More
right?
rice, less condoms, honestly.
More rice.
Yeah.
More rice, yes.
More condoms. I think get them some babes. Get them some Ukrainians.
Mm-hmm.
Get those Ukrainian models. Be like, hey, we have
Send them to say, this will feel
Waterfront.
kind of like home, actually.
But on the water.
Yeah.
You're gonna be on the water, warm water. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna help the effort. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna help the boys down there. It could be nice.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's just,
I don't know. I'm like, we should also just be giving out condoms in America too.
I think we are. I think we do.
How hard is it to get a free condom?
I think that free condoms are everywhere, but I think if you pull up to smash a chick with a free condom, she'll look at you sideways and be like, you can't even go name brand.
Yeah, they do the circular ones, which is so funny.
But they got to do better with that even.
What about a stuffed condom? So it adds to your length and girth.
This is the best fucking idea.
This is a good idea, dude. Yeah.
Wait,
A padded condom. So you just get a little extra push.
you get a little extra girth.
Yeah.
You last longer,
Yeah.
and it's safe.
Yeah.
That's genius.
That's an idea.
That's honestly one of the better. Does that exist? Can you search like padded condom? That's
Yeah,
got to
That's
exist,
a good
right?
idea. Yeah. They're going to steal this one like they stole the fucking
hands-free
the hands-free
flashlight.
flashlight from the last episode.
See, okay, they got some of these. Oh, this is a reusable one.
Well, it would have to be because you'd probably need a mold of your dinger. You know, you could even get one that vibrates if you're. But I mean, you don't want to go too quick.
Yeah, right. It seems insane. I mean, this is kind of a genius idea.
Yeah,
dude.
maybe want to props you up if you got whiskey dick or something.
This is fun. I'm talking to two men who have never really had to buy con.
I haven't. I mean, yeah,
You did in the
a
past.
decade
Mark
ago.
hasn't ever.
Yeah, I don't believe.
I haven't been. Yeah, I've been hitting it raw for a while.
There's not enough humanitarian aid in my home.
Yeah,
We've been missing out on our USAID shipment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I mean, dude, yeah. I mean, it is better raw, obviously, but you know, theoretically, if
Lengthen?
you need a little extra fucking push. You know, like, what if you have a micro penis? You should still be able to please a lady.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
actually. See, these are the initiatives. This is what the people in Washington D.C. need to be talking
this
about.
is $100 million for prosthetic condom penises to Gaza, only for men with micro penises.
Yeah.
If the three of us were in Theta, it'd be so much better.
And if they made the micro penis guys happier, there'd be a lot less war.
Think about that.
There'd be a lot less war.
Yeah.
World peace.
No.
Give everyone a little.
Yeah, world peace.
Yeah, give everyone a little additional to their piece. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of with you on this. I think this is where
idea.
we should be allocating.
I think USAID should hire us because
Yep.
we have good ideas.
Yep.
We're not trying to sterilize the people of Peru. We're trying to help them fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
We're the opposite, dude.
Yeah,
Be
exactly.
fruitful, but don't multiply. Yeah.
I mean, so what would you do? Let's say someone's like, "Hey, we have to put $40,000 into a comic book." You know, should we do it in America? Should we try to revitalize DC's reputation? Like, where do we allocate this $40 trillion from USAID? Where
But
does
it
it all
has
go?
to go to a comic book?
I mean, it could.
No, I would say it should go to just really shit. You should give it to people to walk around big cities and give out $1 or $2 to each homeless person so that the average person doesn't need to feel guilt when they're walking around.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So now when a homeless person's like, hey, I need $5, I go, buddy, they're coming.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
You know, and
I
I don't
got-
feel like shit because I'm not carrying cash.
I got a handful of coins,
Yeah.
and wait, are you saying that they just give it out to homeless people, or
Yeah,
we
they
give
distribute people.
I think it'd be better if we get to give it
Yeah.
out.
I think
It'd
you have
feel
to
better.
interact.
That's true. That's true.
But you get the goodwill.
You get the goodwill. You're right. They should give you walking around money to give to homeless people.
That's a good idea, and you have to give it.
It would encourage more asking, though, I think.
That's true.
I would ask.
But yeah,
I would be asking.
True.
but you know,
I would probably just be around, and be like,
If Mark didn't shave today, he could be asking.
yeah. I was close.
that is true. It would just be a bunch of people. Yeah, it's true. This is the problem with it. You come up with one good idea, but it has external consequences.
Yeah, just state building is hard.
It is hard.
Right? We got to give these CIA guys a break. Be like, look, you tried your
Tough.
best.
You're doing a tough gig.
The USAID guys, you tried to give rice to Haiti.
Yeah.
Did you kill thousands of Haitians? Did you destroy their agriculture?
You mean
Yes.
to?
Also, what a title. Miami Rice sounds like cocaine. Me and
yeah,
the boys got into some Miami Rice last weekend.
right? That'd be a sick show. We should make that show.
Miami Rice.
Yes. Just barbecue down in Haiti. Yeah.
It's just an Asian cop in Fort Lauderdale.
He's driving in his Ferrari or whatever.
No, it'd be a riced out fucking.
Yeah, dude, yeah. It's
That's fire. But yeah, it's a tricky thing. Another interesting one that I read about was that USAID apparently, this is one of their more like covert operations, that they were trying to fund an initiative to help people communicate through the internet, basically creating a social media site in Cuba, and that they wanted to create like a competitor to like Twitter in Cuba for the Cuban citizens. And it didn't really work. It sort of failed. It cost a ton of money. And instead of being effective and being useful for us to sort of send, because basically the goal was that we were going to create our own Cuban Twitter.
called the Buena Vista Social Club.
Yeah, U.S. secretly creates Cuban Twitter to stir unrest and undermine the government.
And when people do this to us, we get so mad, and then we just do it to them.
Yeah, I mean, where do you think they learned it?
Yeah,
we're the originators.
TikTok.
Yeah, so basically we're going to create our Cuban Twitter, and then slowly we're going to infiltrate, like anti-Russian propaganda on there, some anti-China stuff, and maybe some anti-Cuban government stuff, and cause some unrest. People have pointed to like Arab Spring being like an example of the United States using our social media influence as a way to upend a democratically elected government. So if we're able to do this, then
what Elon has now done.
perhaps,
Yeah.
right? It would be great. It didn't really work. And then instead, it seems like the Cuban government officials were actually just able to harvest that data and the information to gain political understanding about like 150,000 Cuban citizens.
Well, backfire there.
Slight
backfire.
But I think we need to talk more about USAID's achievements.
Yeah, what have they done well?
I don't know. That's not
Sesame
part of my
Street's still
research.
cool.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the anti-malaria.
Yeah. Let's find out.
We have a friend that works for USAID. Actually, we have a friend who works for a nonprofit that is funded by USAID.
Yeah.
And he's been calling me a lot. They're not really doing much lately.
He's been pretty free.
He's had a lot of free time. It's actually crazy. He literally called me. I was like, what are you doing? Aren't you supposed to be in the office? He's like,
No.
nope.
And
he seems to do good stuff.
All right, so we got a couple things here. Let's check it out. It seems like in the education sector, USAID helped improve the reading skills of 286,000 students in over 380 schools, developed 645,000 pieces of reading materials and teacher guides that targeted boosting literacy skills, and trained 2,000 teachers on the best practices for effective teaching.
None of that's a good headline.
That's not nearly interesting compared to what we talked about.
Yeah, sounds great.
A lot of the good stuff that I think governments can do, you can't sink your teeth into it.
Yeah,
It's downstream. Like all these people who know how to read, it's like, okay, cool. What are they up to? It could be great things.
I've got an idea.
They're writing trans musicals. Go ahead.
We take hot Ukrainian women,
Yes.
make them teachers
Oh,
in parts of the world that is low on teaching and literacy.
Yeah.
The students want to come to class. They have
yeah.
hot teachers.
That's right.
Yes.
We give them slutty outfits.
Mhm.
Oh,
Teach you how to make that dick go up.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Now you've got kids coming to class and teachers teaching.
And now everyone in the world just has a Ukrainian accent.
That's fine.
Da.
That's fine to me.
But yeah, they did a bunch of stuff with like malaria. They did feed people. I don't have the exact details. I'm sure someone could look it up.
So some good things.
Why get bogged
Now,
down?
is
with the
there,
good?
with what is happening, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but with what is happening with Elon and Trump hoping to shut it down, is it like, well, maybe we can keep some of the reading things?
It's not what it looks like. So this is where people are like, okay, what happens now, right? Like now all of this is coming out. More of it, I'm sure, will come out by the time even this episode comes out. And people are looking at this and they're saying, all right, so what do we do? It seems kind of like what the dude in El Salvador did with the crime there. He was like, hey, we have one of the highest murder rates in the entire world. We have cartels that are basically upending our government, and our citizens are dying in crazy, crazy numbers. So what are we going to do? Arrest everyone.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
No.
Look up El Salvador prison.
It's
They
crazy.
They have a lot of dudes in prison.
They have the highest capacity of prisoners in the world now. The United States used to have it for a long time. And
I think he offered Trump to put migrants there.
Yes,
exactly.
he
That
did.
is exactly what he did, which is insane. If you got arrested here,
And then they send you,
Go to that
my
top left one.
Lord.
Top left.
so they literally
That's
just
a lot of dudes.
And it's not even that you had to be like a criminal, it's that you had to like be roughly a criminal. Like it was a very like big overcorrection of arresting.
Yeah, that
So there's no like civil liberties basically. It was
Yeah.
like, dude, you sold weed once, or like you were a drug dealer roughly. And that person's like, I was just trying to make money.
Dude,
like I'm not like
just
the guy.
selling some nug to the boys, and you end up with a fucking chicken coop. Can you imagine the smell?
Yeah, it's
Gotta
kinda
smell
crazy.
horrible, dude.
Yeah.
You have two
Yeah.
dudes in a bunk bed. It smells like shit. These guys are.
Yeah, it's a tough vibe. But
And
there
that
are
does create. I mean, you know, this isn't making
now-
people better.
The president of El Salvador claims that they have the lowest murder rate in the Western Hemisphere.
that is true.
Well,
That is true.
that information directly comes from the government that put all those people away. So
No, but I've actually was looking into this, and there are like other reports that like certainly their homicide rate has gone down,
yeah, of course.
and people are suggesting that it's even possible that El Salvador's homicide rate is lower than the United States in 2024.
Yes, but how many lives were ruined by this is
Precisely.
the ultimate
It dropped
question.
98% in 9 years. Holy shit.
So, problem solved. I guess the question is
At
this
what
a-
cost?
At what cost? And is this a long-term thing where he's just like, we're going to be a fucking, you know, I don't know what you would call that, a police state?
Sure. Jail state?
forever? Or is it like, hey, we've made a shift in the culture and now we can not jail everybody all the time?
And then slowly let people out based off their offenses and go through everyone's paperwork
What's
one
the
by one.
country that canes people still? Singapore?
Oh, Thailand
Yeah.
and Singapore? I can't remember.
Singapore like canes the fuck out of people if they like throw their gum on the ground. Like they have like a very like and I'm making an exaggeration, but they do literally do like some crazy punishment
Yeah.
to people that do like sort of minor infractions. And on one hand, apparently Singapore is like the cleanest country ever. Like people go there and they're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, it's the cleanest place in the world. On the other hand, they literally like brutally beat people. And the crazy part about the caning in Singapore, it's not like, oh, they hit you once. If you get 20 lashes, you get hit really hard. And if you say stop, you then get to recover and then go back for the rest of them. It's never a number. It's like you have to meet
space them out.
There's a hilarious story, and by hilarious, I mean, it's like kind of wild, but also sort of funny, about this guy named Michael Fay, who was lashed 6 times with a cane in 1994 in Singapore for vandalism. He's an American teenager. And in 1993, 67 cars were vandalized in various neighborhoods of Singapore, including spray painting and eggs. Sounds sort of American, right? They arrested 2 teenagers who were driving a car similar to the one witnessed. Fay was one of the students. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of vandalism and said that he spray painted 2 of the cars in mid-September. And then due to the 1966 Vandalism Act trying to curb political graffiti, he eventually lost his appeal and then was caned 6 times. The Clinton administration tried to express objection to this and tried to get him not caned. But unfortunately, Singapore was like,
Is Kane just getting hit with a cane?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
let's
really
look it up.
long. Don't. It's gross. Their asses look like ham. It's like
Oh.
bad. It's like brutal as fuck.
Oh.
Yeah. So Fay told Reuters that he did not know that the time had come for his punishment when he was taken from a cell. They bent him over a
Oh
trestle.
yeah, they don't tell you when it's going to happen.
They
You
bent
just get
him.
sat in a cell, and then one day if they come in and they go, "Hey, your food's here," the next day it might be, "Hey, you're coming with us."
Oh.
So you
So-
just sit there and think all day.
They put him there with his butt.
Hey, okay, we're all good.
I want to
no,
see it.
Show this.
All
This is
right.
good. No, Gabe, please pull that back up. Thank you.
Ugh.
They stick his butt out, and then
Yeah.
they put his hands and his feet buckled to the structure. He's naked except a rubber pad fixed to his back. The flogger, a doctor, and prison officials were also present. Fay said that the caner then walked sharply toward 3 steps, and they said, "Count 1." They yell really loud, and then they basically
Damn.
track him, just like stroke him in the back with this cane. That when the 4th stroke was delivered, he was immediately unbuckled from the trestle and taken to the cell to recover. And then it left streaks of blood running down his buttocks.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sorry I brought this up.
No, I mean, well, it's good to know.
Some
I always hear
places-
Singapore's nice, and I'm like, well, I'd love to go, but I won't do any vandalism.
It's too nice. Why is it so nice?
What if you were into that?
Then you better
Then you
vandalize.
might go, yeah.
Yeah,
Bring
you
the
better-
spray paint.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you've overcorrected.
Yeah.
Now there's no more murder in El Salvador. Now there's no more graffiti in Singapore.
Yeah.
But at what cost? I feel like this is a similar situation where it's like, hey, we're gutting the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is, a part of Trump's, politics, it seems like. It's like, hey, we're getting rid of all these departments. We're cleaning up all the inefficiency. And certainly doing this will clean up money laundering. It will clean up government inefficiency. It will clean up, some of the soft power tactics that we've done to exert power, probably at the detriment of many innocent sovereign people around the world. And also, people might, not have access to medication, might not have access to food, etc. Certainly, people that have now become dependent on foreign influence and aid. And is it possible in that power vacuum that other countries, a la China, Russia, etc., will fill in and then gain some type of, favor with the nations that they now enter into?
Yeah, it's possible.
So it's fascinating. We'll see eventually what happens. So on January 24th, Trump ordered a total freeze on foreign aid. The website is basically scrubbed. You can't even really access a lot of the NGOs that were a part of it. A lot of them have pulled off their board of directors because they're oh, we're all going to get investigated. No one really even knows what's going on. And other people are seeing this as a political strategy. They're hey, we're going to find the departments in the United States government that are the most bloated, that have the most visible corruption. And by being able to get wins early on politically and sort of dissolving these departments, we can then go down the list and dissolve more departments.
Right.
And this seems like it's following almost a Milton Friedman-esque economic policy of hey, let's get rid of all this bureaucratic bloat. And even Elon actually tweeted and this is the USAID website. You can see it's basically just has a message with nothing on it.
Well, they have a great logo, by the way.
Is
the hands shaking in the middle. That's a great one.
Right?
$9 billion for that.
Worth every penny.
But actually, it's interesting. Elon tweeted an interview that Milton Friedman did where he talked about, which government agencies should be slashed. And they basically went through all of them, top to bottom. And Milton Friedman was get rid of everything basically other than the IRS and the justice system.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is bloated. Get rid of it all. So it seems that's more or less where the political, sort of vibe is going.
Are.
So
it's one of those things where the concept of it sounds good, but you don't know what you're missing out on. So
yeah,
I think it's good that we're revisiting it.
Right. And it's also interesting because it's now become a political mirage for everyone, right?
Yeah.
If you're working for the Peace Corps and you're giving rice to people and now all of a sudden you can't, you're this guy's racist.
Yeah,
he
and
hates
people.
He's anti-human. And then if you're, I have friends actually, we have a mutual friend that was in the military that had to work with USAID people and was yeah, they're the worst. They were late. They were slow. They didn't seem like they cared. The whole thing seemed like a complete fugazi.
Yeah.
And those people are yeah, get rid of them. They're in the way of our operations. And then, if you look at these rich people that are stealing money from it, you're fuck them. Why are they getting rich off it? So literally wherever you line politically and whatever your foreign policy position is, this thing is just becomes a completely different thing for you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what will happen.
This is also a final little interesting thing. While USAID and Department of State are preparing a plan under which USAID personnel, so if you're right now in a different country and the USAID has been shuttered for 30 days, it seems if you buy your own travel back to America to sort of get away from that place, they'll reimburse you. And I'm lay flat through Hawaii.
Yeah.
PJ.
Yeah.
PJ through Hawaii, stay for 4 days, and then get back to wherever the hell you live.
Yeah.
And then go, you said you'd reimburse me.
Another symptom of the Democrat bloat. Ugh. Isn't it just crazy how these guys do it, right?
It is, dude.
They just try to milk the American taxpayer.
It's been both parties.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's honestly a good plan. I would do the same thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Is this going to happen to every other department in the United States? Does this happen?
No.
Does this happen with Department of Education? We'll see.
The Department of Fluffed Condoms.
We got to start that, dude.
Yeah.
We got to start that. So I don't know. What did you learn? What do you think? Did you know anything about this beforehand? What do you feel you feel about this now?
I think, yeah, it was very helpful to go through the specifics because I see the top line stuff where it's basically some people being thank God we're finally cutting this. This needed to go. And other people being you want African children to die. And I think that it makes me want to read more about the specific projects because some of them seem like bullshit, but other ones seem like
chill.
they have a good purpose. So I guess if we do get rid of it, would we be establishing any sort of smaller group to continue helping people in poor nations that don't have the ability to fight diseases, at least.
Yeah. There's
continue doing that.
Another element I think is that like Rubio is now in charge of like overseeing it, I think, or something like that.
So, yeah.
So now you got like Marco Rubio in there. And so then the question is like, will the cure be better than, the disease that was there before?
Yeah.
Like, do we trust that Rubio and Elon will be able to come through and clean it all up? I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
It's one of those where it's like, look, if people stop dying of fentanyl, maybe these tariff things were genius, Like, I think Mulaney has that bit where he calls Trump like the
horse in a hospital.
The horse in a hospital.
Yeah.
Where it's like, is this bad? Like, is it good? Like, who knows? Another thing that's interesting with this is like, does it indicate that Trump is still like an outsider? Like, everyone's been like, oh, he's like a part of the machine. Like, he's not here to like get rid of anything, But like, doing this, is this like what an outsider would do?
It's a wrench in the machine for sure.
Like,
the machine is halting, or at least this small part of whatever the major machine is halting.
Have you ever heard of this idea of accelerationism? This is fascinating.
Yes.
This is like a political idea where basically like you promote and like encourage anything to happen so long as it accelerates the destruction of the current system that you think is oppressive and wrong.
It's like left-wing people supporting Trump because they're like, he's going to do so many things, like cutting back on so many things. It will lead to increased oligarchy, increased insane late-stage capitalism, increased inequality that people will actually finally be like, oh,
yeah, it'll inspire the left to actually like do something. It's interesting. There's a sort of similar theory, like not in.
I don't want my shit to get fucked up, so I'm not an accelerationist.
Yeah, it's like
I just
it's
want
like
to be able
quasi
to
like
do my own thing.
anarchist type vibe.
Yeah.
There's a similar. I don't want to say like infrastructure. There's something similar, but there is something similar in the historical. Like we think of Japan and Germany and all these like European countries having like great infrastructure, basically. And part of that people are now saying is that it's a post World War II like benefit of your whole country getting bombed to shit. Which is like you have the time to rebuild, you have the time to think forward. And America has never been attacked on foreign land.
And also, you're welcome, Germany and Japan.
Yeah. Except for 9/11.
Fair. Yeah.
Except for 9/11, we haven't been attacked on American land. And it's interesting that like the nicest part of the New York City MTA subway system is the Lower Manhattan 9/11 subway stations.
So what are you proposing, Miles?
I'm not
sounds
proposing
devious.
Miles.
I'm not proposing anything. I'm just saying that it is interesting.
You might not
that
make any
sometimes-
more fans with this line of thinking.
So evil, just might
Evil
work.
Miles.
But that would be sort of accelerationist in a way.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And as someone that wants to just go back to hunting and gathering, and the sooner we can just get back to just chilling with the boys and just honestly, just doing this shit right here, just on horseback, going through Utah, just chilling.
Man with podcast yearns for simpler times.
Run the headline. Run the headline immediately. I wish we didn't have to be recording. I wish we could just be
Man who
around
makes
fire.
every dime he ever makes online hates the internet.
You want to know something? If we were all around a fire, hunting and gathering, we wouldn't need money.
It is true. We just need fucking meat.
Just meat and just babes.
Yeah.
Like
meat and babes.
what's more bro than just being a native, just running around,
Meat and babes, dude.
just grounding,
Yeah.
sounding.
Yeah. Well,
Have you heard of sounding?
oh, I know about sounding.
It's one of my favorite ings to do.
Yeah.
Grounding,
Just getting
sounding.
nice something shoved up the old urethra.
You ever heard of sounding?
No.
Can we get a picture of sounding?
No,
that's
no.
Go
Miles
back to
would like.
caning.
You never watched Kids in the Sandbox growing
Go back
up?
to caning. please.
Well, I think that was a USAID initiative in Afghanistan.
Yes. You know, 2 Girls, 1 Cup was actually a USAID project.
That's actually what they called the Sesame Street project over there. Kids in the sandbox.
Sounding is, it shoves, as you can see, an item there into your pee hole.
And right into your urethra, Franklin.
I hate this.
Yeah.
This feels like the end of the episode.
Yeah, you can, You can sign
So,
us off.
Anyway, thank you guys so much.
You know what? Before we do that, Mark,
we don't have any shows coming up.
that's not true.
Really?
We can plug our show in Portland, Maine.
Wow.
Yes.
Speaking of sounding,
It
let's
is,
plug it
yeah.
right here.
Come and get your penis plugged. Mark and I are co-headlining in Portland, Maine, April 27th. So come on out and see both of us. JoeyAvery.com/live for all my shows.
And
Joey
that's
Show Podcast.
probably the best place to buy tickets because I don't have a website yet.
You sort of have a
Is that
website.
serious?
Yeah.
Where do people buy tickets to your shows? JoeyAvery.com/live.
Yeah, Joey-
All Mark will be at all the shows. Come on out, buy tickets. great stand-up.
Yeah, I'm a little behind, so I got to figure that
Get a
part out.
website.
It's just so hard to do.
He just wants to hunt and gather.
Oh my goodness! If only I could get. I'm trying to really just get sponsored by like Wix or Squarespace. It's just a
It's
long play.
not hard.
Yeah, Squarespace might be the easiest sponsor in the history of sponsorships on
If
podcasts.
only I knew how to build a website.
If only, dude. If only you had AI tools that could help you build a website.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm open. I'm open for any bids. But yeah, I just need to get a website. But anyway, come see us. That'll be a great show.
Yeah.
I can guarantee it'll be fun.
Yeah.
That there'll be laughter.
And I think we're at a college the night before in Maine. I don't even know if you can buy tickets to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're doing, what is it, like an adjunct?
We're teaching. We're teaching about sounding at the University of Urethra, Maine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bangor.
It is actually. The show, I think, is in Bangor.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. I can't wait to see everybody there. Miles is also going to do some time on that show.
Oh, dude, I would love that.
You would do great.
Thanks.
You would do awesome. I would really enjoy it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Well, we got a lineup. There
Don't
you
let
go.
your dreams be dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Camp. Let me know what you think. What do you think? Are we spending too much money giving it away to people, brown people, sometimes whites as well, Ukrainians or whatever? Are we giving away too much money for frivolous needs, and do we need to put America first? Or is it a more complicated geopolitical issue than, a simple headline would lead you to believe? I'm curious to know your thoughts. Put them in the comments. I will be reading probably like the first 50 of them, to be honest. And after that, it gets a little tiring. But let me know what you think. As always, it's Fuck Miles, and we'll see you next time. Peace. If you've made it to the end of this episode, that's because you rock with us. And for that, we rock with you. You are sophisticated. You enjoy honest, true communication, a highbrow type of person that understands this. History is not just dates and names. It is a tapestry of human triumph and tragedy. From the day Nostradamus made his first prophecy to the morning Paul Revere took his midnight ride, from ancient oracles to modern revolutionaries. That is why I need you. If you have not already, please sign up for Today in History, our free newsletter. Today in History brings you the stories that matter, the moments that changed everything, and the secrets hidden in time. Join thousands of history enthusiasts who get their daily journey through time. Don't let another day of history pass you by. Take the conversation to your inbox. Sign up now through the QR code or link in the description. Today in History, because history's stories shape tomorrow's world. Thank you for watching the episode. We'll see you next time.